Pro Football Hall of Famer and Colorado coach Dion Sanders had surgery to remove his bladder after doctors discovered a cancerous tumor. Sanders says today he is cancer-free. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports today on former Raiders defensive lineman Christian Wilkins.
When you speak to people there inside the locker room, they say that Christian playfully went to kiss a teammate on top of his head, and those same people said that that player took offense to it.
Adam Schefter on the Pat McAfee Show, critical of the way Wilkins was rehabbing a left foot injury. The Raiders voided $35 million in guaranteed money that was left on his contract. Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase goes on non-disciplinary paid leave through the end of August as part of a sports betting investigation involving Cleveland starter Luis Ortiz, who's also on leave. Tulane senior basketball player Greg Glenn III died over the weekend in what the school is calling a tragic accident.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Tuesday. Last year, I told you the Dolphins would regret the Tua deal. A year later, I'll tell you why I was absolutely right. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right.
Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows. Matt Moscona coming to you from The Rustic in downtown Houston, Texas, courtesy of the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, encouraging you to come home, Louisiana. We're here because, cool LSU alumni event tonight. Going to catch an Astros game against the Nationals. Dylan Cruz, Cole Henry, a couple of former Tigers currently playing for the Stros. Disappointing that Dylan Cruz won't be playing tonight. He's been on the IL, and he's actually at a rehab assignment in the minors right now. But we wish him good health and back up to speed. But it'd be great to be in the ballpark tonight to watch the Stros and the Nats and be hanging out with a lot of LSU alums and LSU supporters here tonight with the LSU Alumni Association and the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. And we got a ton to do today over the course of the show. 1 hour from right now, former LSU pitcher Connor Ware will be with us. Ross Jackson, who was at Saints camp, will be with us in hour number 2 as well. But let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy. Easy.
Well, we are inching closer to the start of the 2025 college football season and inching closer to fall camp. As of this very moment, we still have not gotten LSU's fall camp practice schedule, but I'm very much anticipating practice starting by the end of this week. Once the calendar flips to August 1 on Friday, we should be looking at LSU hitting the practice field very soon, as soon as they organize what days they'll be on the practice field. Of course, they'll have a couple of weeks of fall camp before they begin their 2 weeks of preparation intently preparing for the Clemson Tigers. And so now that all of the media days are in the rearview mirror, a lot of times, as we often say, narratives kind of get shaped, either proved or disproved, confirmed or disconfirmed throughout talking season, or at least people feel like they have a better idea. What I often say, and you probably heard me say this at media days and beyond, is when you go to one of these events and you're local media, you know the team you cover deep. Like, I know everything there is to know about the 85 scholarship players in the LSU football team. What I have of the rest of the SEC was surface level knowledge of the rest of the league. You go to a media days and things like that, and what tends to happen is you get a deeper knowledge and understanding of the rest of the league, and by nature of the fact of the multiple media days, the rest of college football. And so sometimes we feel like we have ideas that are further shaped coming out of those media days events. And so it was a pretty appropriate time that the odds makers have begun updating point spreads for the college football season and some of the marquee games. And our friends over at DraftKings today have updated 5 point spreads. Now, if you're not a sports bettor, that's fine. I'm not encouraging you to sports bet if you don't want to do that. If you do sports bet, I'm not telling you which way you should place your money. You make up your own decision. The reason I like to talk about betting odds is because this is not a subjective opinion that someone is sharing. This isn't a national writer for Yahoo or CBS or ESPN sharing their opinion about who's going to win games and who's going to win a championship, or the media poll at SEC Media Days or fill-in-the-blank Media Days sharing who they think or what the order of finish is going to be. These are odds makers whose job is to create numbers on probability to generate dual-sided action. So they want to be as close to the number as possible to try to get people to bet on both sides of it. And then ultimately they'll adjust the number accordingly based on, which way money starts to come in to limit their liability. So I wanted to see what movement there was coming out of Media Days with the 5 games that they listed for LSU. So we'll start with the opener. They have Clemson 3.5, meaning Clemson is a 3.5-point favorite over LSU in the season opener. I've told you before, I have no problem whatsoever with that. This game is at Clemson. If the shoe were on the other foot, you'd probably flip that to be a virtual pick'em, or LSU a favorite the game if it was in Tiger Stadium. They have a 5th-year senior quarterback returning. They have a head coach that's won 2 national championships. They have arguably the best defensive line in college football. LSU's replacing 4 starters on the offensive line. It is a true road game. There's a lot. I get it. There's a lot of reasons. I'm not saying that Clemson is definitively going to win that game, but they should be favored and probably should win that game. So, but that number has held. It's been anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 throughout this offseason. It'll be interesting to see where that goes off. The other ones that are interesting to me is we have seen other movement. For example, LSU right now is a 5.5-point favorite over Florida. That number about a month ago, really in the beginning of June, was 6.5 to 7.5. So maybe a little more belief coming in on the Gators coming out of Media Days and out of the summer. I'm not so sure that I'm there. Y'all know how I feel about Florida. I think they're a 7-5 football team. They may be better than they were a year ago, but DJ Lagway statistically was almost identical to Michael Van Buren. And if you look at Florida and the schedule that they have to play this year, I mean, they are going to start the season very likely 2-0 because they're going to open up with Long Island and South Florida, 2 layups to get started. But then, again, it's not just who you play, but when and where you play them. After they open with Long Island and South Florida, Florida goes at LSU, at Miami, Texas, at Texas A&M. I think that at best is a 1-3 stretch for Florida. Could very well be an 0-4 stretch, and their season probably dismantled at that point. The other one I thought was fascinating, the one that is completely flipped. At the beginning of June, Ole Miss was a 2.5-point favorite. The number that DraftKings released today has LSU now a 2.5-point favorite over Ole Miss. That's completely flipped. So understand what we talked about. All throughout this talking season, Ole Miss returns 4 starters total. Remember, they were a very talented team a year ago, most talented roster they ever had in the history of that program, and everybody is gone. I mean, they lost Trey Harris, Walter Nolan, Prince Umanmielen, Chris Paul, Trey Amos. Go down the list. They lost all that talent from a year ago. They're starting offensive tackles. So a ton to replace, and even though that game's on the road, LSU is now a 2.5-point favorite, road favorite against Ole Miss. Texas A&M, that game has held. It was 5.5. It's still 5.5. I've told you I think A&M is my surprise team in the SEC for whatever that's worth. I don't necessarily know that they're a playoff team, but I think A&M could get to 9-3 in the regular season the way it shapes up. They have a returning quarterback in Marcel Reed, arguably the best offensive line certainly in the SEC, if not in the country. 3 very good running backs, and Mike Elko returns a ton on that defense from a season ago. That A&M team could be maybe the surprise team, so that number is held. The other one that they listed is Alabama. Now, that game was Bama 6.5 to 7.5. It's now Bama 5.5. So there's still more than a field goal favorite, 5.5-point favorites over LSU. But that was a touchdown, and now it's down to 5.5. And I don't need to repeat it again. Y'all know my feelings on Alabama, and I'm going to continue to say it throughout this offseason and throughout the entire season. I think they are a perpetual 9-3 football team under Kalen DeBose. They are a team that has some residual talent from when Nick Saban was there. I think the majority of their talent this year is on the defensive side of the ball, which may help them. I do not think that Ryan Grubb coming in magically fixes the offense. And for an offense a year ago that was carried so often by Jalen Milroe because of his ability to make plays with his feet, that ability is now gone with Ty Simpson coming in. And if you're going to have a first-year starter in the SEC, you're going to have growing pains. It's just the nature of the beast in the Southeastern Conference. We saw it with Nussmeier a year ago. A guy who was a highly touted dude, waited his turn. His 4th year in college, becomes the starter. And LSU went 8-4, despite the fact that he threw for 4,000 yards. So I think Bama is what they are, and we'll see by the time they get to November what the line is on that game. But it's an interesting opportunity just at these different benchmarks throughout the offseason. What do lines look like as soon as the regular season ends? What do they, when you start to look to the next season, then around spring football, then around this point, the beginning, the after spring football, and then now as you're getting into fall camps, how might these adjust? And we'll see once teams get into fall camps, we start to see reports in fall camps. Unfortunately, if there are injuries that could affect things, as we know more about all that, we'll continue to watch it evolve. But LSU, as it stands right now, the most significant line movement is that Ole Miss game, where Ole Miss at the beginning of June was about a field goal favorite at home. Now LSU a field goal favorite on the road in Oxford as we're getting closer to the start of fall camps. All right, y'all, we are so glad to have you aboard with us here. We're at the Rustic in Houston, courtesy of our friends at the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. ComeHomeLouisiana.com to learn more. If you've lived outside of the state, they're encouraging you to look into returning to the state of Louisiana. Come home, Louisiana. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of AFR. We've got plenty of good promotions coming up throughout the rest of the summer and into the start of the football season with our friends over at Mockler Beverage and Bud Light. So make sure you stay tuned for that, as we'll tell you much more as we inch closer. Okay, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're thrilled to have you aboard with us here. We'll knock out our first break of the show. When we come back, Tyrann Mathieu surprised a lot of people when he announced his sudden retirement before the start of training camp last week. The Honey Badger made an appearance on the Up and Adams show here on Monday, and we'll let you hear a little of what he had to say in regards to his sudden retirement. That's coming up here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows.
After Further Review.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Like we encourage you to do every single day, buy local and shop local over at Clegg's Nursery. Y'all, I mean, it is in Houston right now 94 degrees, air temp, probably very similar in Baton Rouge. Even though we're getting to the end of July, the beginning of August, and the calendar says fall is near, I think we all very much understand there's a lot of summer months left, a lot of time to enjoy your outdoor spaces, your pool, and if you want to beautify those spaces and get rid of pests in those spaces, our friends over at Clegg's Nursery can help. So get by any of those 4 Clegg's Nursery locations: Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Do what I've told you to do forever. Buy local, shop local. It's what Clegg's has encouraged you to do for more than 60 years. It's at Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
All right, we're thrilled to have you aboard with us here. As always, big shout out to Brandon Holly, the gang over at Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Whew. Energy efficient windows, keeping your home, office, climate controlled, temp controlled in this. Yes, please. Man, we are fired up to be here. We're in Houston today at the Rustic in downtown. Gorgeous spot, man. If you've never been here, put it on your list. If you're coming for a ball game, I mean, you're walking distance to Toyota Center, to the ballpark as well. We're in the outdoor spot where they have a big stage. They do live music here. Beautiful indoor spot as well. They got events going on tonight, so we're glad to be here in conjunction with our friends at the Baton Rouge Area Chamber and the LSU Alumni Association for Astros Nats tonight. Hopefully we get to see Cole Henry throw the pill a little bit tonight, but no Dylan Cruz as he's on the IL and making a rehab assignment tonight. So unfortunately we won't get to see Dylan Cruz, but still get to catch a ball game. And should be a great time with tons of purple and gold in the stands. Speaking of purple and gold, man, I was on a plane to Mexico on Tuesday, and although the Wi-Fi on the plane was not very good, I caught the news that Tyrann Mathieu had announced his retirement. And I know there's some people who maybe question the timing with proximity to training camp, but the reality is most of these guys know if they're sensing they're near the end, if they're contemplating it. And quite honestly, the NFL is like so many things where if you are not all in, then you are out. You cannot go into the physical, grueling nature of not only a 17-game regular season, but a 20-game slate that includes the 3 preseason games, the potential of postseason, and then starting, of course, your season-long journey at the end of July in training camp. I mean, you're talking about potentially going from July to February, and I don't think the Saints are going to play to February, but you certainly play into January. I mean, so you're talking about 5.5 months. I mean, almost half a year of a physical commitment to doing this thing where you have to be all in. And if you are not all in, then you are out. And I know in the past, Tyrann had talked about wanting to play a couple of more seasons. You might recall when we were at Radio Row, or Media Row as they call it, at the Super Bowl, we had a chance to visit with DeMario Davis, and DeMario told us that he wanted to play 3 more seasons. And he's at age 36 right now, but wanted to play 3 more seasons because he thought that's what it was going to take to get New Orleans under Kellen Moore with a young quarterback back into contention. And so you look at DeMario, and Tyrann Mathieu said at the time he wanted to play 2 more seasons. Cam Jordan as well. Like, those guys want to go out winners, and I understand and respect that. But there's also the component where, I mean, it's cliche, everybody says it, but you know it. Father Time is undefeated. And when you are no longer all in, then you are out. So there's the component of this and what it means for the 2025 New Orleans Saints, which we'll talk about here in just a quick second. But Tyrann Mathieu was a guest on the Up and Adams show with Kay Adams on Monday, and he gave a very long and thoughtful answer to the question, why retire now?
That's been a conversation I've kind of had, really going into the last couple seasons. And I think the older I got, the more challenging and harder it became to leave my kids. Like, at first it was all cool. Like, I get the weekend off, you know what I mean? But then it's like, once you get a certain age, or I guess I should say, once you kind of, begin to experience different parts of life, I think priorities shift. Like, I think the things that meant the most to me when I was 22, they don't really mean the most to me at 33, And so, I think my kids play a big part in that. And it's funny because, I think the only one that's kind of upset with me right now is my daughter. She's like 5. And then my 2 sons, who's 12 and 11, I think they've been able to experience this thing, right? And I remember one of them kind of telling me, Dad, I think you need a break, man. Like you've been doing that a long time.
Tyrann Mathieu is 33 years old. He turned 33 this past May. And when I heard him talk about his children influencing his decision, the first thing that popped in my mind was conversations I've had with Ryan Theriot. And I understand, Tyrann was on the All-Decades team in the 2000s, or the 2010s. He's a 3-time All-Pro. He has a case to be made for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You can hem and haw, but when you make an All-Decades team and are a 3-time first-team All-Pro, your name is on the ballot and you are in consideration. And when you look at so much of what goes into what Tyrann Mathieu has done throughout his career, over the dozen years that he played, he has made his cash total career earnings are $97 million. If you want an exact number, $97,594,901. Dude has made $100 million cash earnings during his dozen years in the NFL. This is a guy that initially was a no-star, balls out at different camps, becomes a 4-star, goes to LSU. We know the story. Heisman finalist, dismissed. Would he have a career after his arrest? Cardinals take him in round 3 after Patrick Peterson, senior and junior, began mentoring him. And he's a great success story. And my God, one thing I know about America is America loves a comeback story. We love we love the Rocky, the down on your luck, the rags to riches story. We love someone who was up against it, maybe had it all, got it taken away, and then achieves it again. And Tyrann Mathieu is a quintessential version of that story, and he's so easy to cheer for. But I remember having this conversation with Theriot when his playing career was ending. And again, Ryan Theriot was not a potential Hall of Famer, but he's a guy that spent more than a decade playing professional baseball and made a lot of money and won World Series and did a lot of things. And he's told the story many times that he was gone and he was missing his kids riding a bike for the first time and just life milestones. And when you've checked so many boxes professionally, you start to say, do I love this more than I missing my children achieve certain things? And that answer is literally different for everybody. And there is no right or wrong. It's just what is. And if Tyrann's kids at 12 and 11, his sons are telling him, Dad, you need a break. And he's talking about, man, I've been thinking about it the last couple of years anyway. I'll go back to where we started. You're either all in or you are out, because there is no way to do the NFL halfway. There's a great soundbite this weekend I heard from Ryan Clark talking about that in a conversation, a back and forth with he and Cam Newton. I don't know all the context of it or anything, but one of the things that RC said is from a guy that was an undrafted free agent to making a Pro Bowl, from a regular job with the Tiger Athletic Foundation to getting a workout with the Giants to then making the then Redskins and having a prolonged career with the Steelers and playing 13 years. Like, he said, look at any clip of my career and you will see a dude going 100%. There was nothing else, because if you're not doing that, you don't have a career. So I understand for Tyrann how even 6 months ago he could have said, I want to play 2 more years. But the second your child comes to you and says, Dad, you need a break, it can reframe everything. If you're a parent, you understand that. Even if you're not a parent, to a degree, I'm certain you can understand that. There's a lot of other things that I thought were important. Kay Adams did ask him the importance of retiring with his hometown team, the New Orleans Saints. Here's what Tyrann said.
New Orleans, man, has been, really everything for me. I think the city, the people within the city, and even beyond that, really, the entire Louisiana, they've just been so supportive and, really so encouraging. And I think ultimately, as a youngster, man, like, you just want to make your people proud. And, I was so proud to kind of represent New Orleans, everywhere I went. And I was fortunate enough, to say, when I had this opportunity to come back home, I think that was just a perfect, scenario for me. I had, really achieved everything, possible, to achieve as a defensive player, the last couple of years. And, to have the opportunity to come home and, and really just be present with, my foundation and, ultimately, man, just giving these kids some inspiration and some hope. I hope I was able to, provide that for them, these last couple of years, I've been able to be home.
It'll be really interesting to see what Tyrann does in the next phase of his life. Does he stay in New Orleans, somewhere in Louisiana? Does he go back to Arizona, Kansas City, here in Houston, where he played with the Texans? He's got many options of what he can do, but wherever he decides to call home, I don't think there's any doubt that he will continue to stay rooted in New Orleans with all the work he's done with his foundation and for the youth in the city in New Orleans and around Louisiana. Now, another topic that came up is the possibility of coaching, which is something Tyrann has talked about openly. Brian Kelly last Wednesday, when he was at the Rotary Club meeting, did sort of he made a joke saying that Tyrann was going to suit up for the team with Clemson, but then he followed up by saying, I expect Tyrann to be around our program. Now, he didn't specify if that would be in an official capacity or just someone that would be around. Remember, Tyrann Mathieu has made 2 different 7-figure gifts to the LSU football program. You go into football ops, the team room is the Tyrann Mathieu team room in football ops, which is another incredible part of the story altogether, where I don't know, literally, I cannot think of another instance. Maybe you can. If you can, please let me know. I'm being dead serious about this. I can't think of another instance where a player was kicked off a team, was dismissed, but then continued to have a relationship with that team school program, especially to the tune of making multiple 7-figure donations, gifts to that school. Anyway, it just speaks to the true rareness, if not altogether uniqueness, of the relationship that Tyrann Mathieu and LSU have with one another. But anyway, Kay Adams did ask if coaching would be in Tyrann Mathieu's future. Here's what he said.
I won't be coaching this fall, that's for sure. But who knows what the future holds? I think, anybody that's kind of known me and, really been around me, I think they know how much I love football. I'm really, honestly, man, I'm looking forward to, like, the next great challenge. I feel like when I came into the league, obviously it was a great challenge for me because of, where I come from and all those things. And, I was really proud of the way I handled myself. The last 12, 13 years. And I'm excited to see, like, me do that in my next, like, endeavor. I don't know if it's going to be TV. I don't know if it's going to be coaching. I don't know, but I know like me being away from football, I don't think like that's a thing. I think my heart is still like, with the game, and especially the players.
That last part of the soundbite is the answer. Me being away from football, that's not a thing. So if it's TV, if it's coaching, if it's some administrative role, maybe it's years from now, who knows? Hard to believe Tyrann will be far from the game, and hard to believe he'll be far from LSU. He is forever interwoven into the fabric of New Orleans, LSU, Louisiana, New Orleans Saints football culture. Having been from New Orleans, prepped at AUG, gone to LSU, played for the Saints. He's done it all at every levels. I mean, one of the coolest photos is the one of Tyrann when he first signed with the Saints, wearing the Saints helmet and holding the St. Aug and LSU helmets on each shoulder. I mean, that kind of speaks volumes to what Tyrann has been, will be with Louisiana and the state of Louisiana in football. So congrats to Tyrann Mathieu on his retirement, his first public comments in an interview with Kay Adams on Up and Adams. Of course, you can get that full interview on YouTube or wherever you get your content. All right, we're here at the Rustic in Houston. The Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever. With bold leadership and a new vision, Louisiana has gained real momentum with $63 billion in new capital investment, and Governor Landry announcing nearly 7,000 new jobs. The time is now to come home. Start your journey at comehomelouisiana.com. That's comehomelouisiana.com. We're glad to be here in Houston with so many LSU alums in conjunction with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber and, of course, the LSU Alumni Association. We'll knock out a quick break, y'all. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. When we come back, Muse will take us around the SEC. Plus, if you missed it, Coach Prime, Dion Sanders, announced today that he's beaten bladder cancer. You'll hear from Coach Prime, and I got a reaction to that. We'll do it as we continue. We're glad you're here on a Monday edition of AFR.
After further review.
Man, on a day like this, when it's 97 degrees with heat indexes around 110, the last thing in the world you ever want to have happen is your AC go out. But if that is the reality with which you are faced, our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air can help. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side, or give them a shout at 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. At River City's 1 Hour Air, they've got more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor, because for 4 decades they've been treating people awesome and giving you great service and doing the job right the first time. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Remember, they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. Schedule service. If they're late, you don't come out of pocket 1 cent. That's what they mean by we're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. At River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And oh, we do shutters too.
And there were a lot of conflicting reports about Dion Sanders and his future in coaching after there were reports of health issues. Well, Dion Sanders met with reporters here on Monday in Colorado and disclosed that he had bladder cancer and has beaten bladder cancer. This was Dion kind of explaining a situation like that he was dealing with, even on the sidelines, how severe it was.
I cannot control my bladder. So I get up and go to the bathroom already 4 or 5 times a night. But then I'm sitting up there, waking up, like my grandson. We in the same thing. We got the same problem right now. We going through the same trials and tribulations. We're trying to see who has the heaviest bag at the end of the night. Like it's ridiculous. But I'm making a joke out of it, but it's real. Like it is real. It is real. It is real. So if you see porta potty on the sideline, it's real. Okay? I'm just telling you right now, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see the practice. You're gonna see one because it is unbelievable.
Dr. Janet Kukraja is Dion's surgeon who performed the procedure to remove the cancer, and in this report gave the good news for Coach Prime.
So we proceeded with removal of the bladder tumor. It was very high grade, invading through the bladder wall, not into the muscle layer, something we call very high risk, non-muscle invasive bladder cancer. So we did discuss options. We discussed some options of treatment in the bladder, and we discussed bladder removal as well. Given his commitments to his family and to the team, elected to undergo a bladder removal. We performed a full robot-assisted laparoscopic bladder removal and creation of a new bladder, and I am pleased to report that the results from the surgery are that he is cured from the cancer.
That's fantastic news, just on a human level. You have to, of course, separate the conversation from whatever you feel about Colorado football or Coach Prime or the sort of bombastic attitude. I love it. I mean, I said from the beginning, Dion Sanders got the Jackson State job because he's Dion Sanders. He got the Colorado job because he can coach football. And he's recruited exceptionally well, and he's done it a different way. But it's also undeniable. He took over a program that won 1 game before he took over. He quadrupled that total in year 1. And then last year got Colorado to a bowl game, a breath away from the conference championship game. Like, that's undeniable. Produced the program's 2nd ever Heisman Trophy winner. That's not even debatable. But there's the human side of this, which is, man, like Dion was asked if he thought he was going to die. If there was a time where he thought he was going to die, here's what he said.
I'm allowed to go through these trials and tribulations so that I could touch and reach and bless people with my words, with the energy, with that thing that God gave me. So I never thought about no death. I had to make a will because I want to be a business. I want to be a good steward, for my kids and for my family. But no, I got too much life to be thinking about death. Too much life. I got too much life in me, and I got work to do. We got to win the 3rd championship. You talking about death? No. God definitely ain't getting ready to take me before that.
For whatever it's worth, the Buffaloes' projected win total in Vegas this season is over under 6.5. We know they got to replace Shedeur Sanders. They've got to replace the Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter, who was as spectacular a dual threat athlete as we've seen play football, on both sides of the ball, a two-way athlete in probably 2 generations since Charles Woodson. So I don't know if this is going to be the team to win that championship, but very pleased to see there's the good news that Coach Prime is cancer-free. As there's more updates, we'll provide them. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Paris Restoration, parisrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Y'all, we live in Louisiana. It's the mold capital of the world. It's hot, it's humid. Perfect breeding ground for mold. If you have mold, think you might. If you had water intrusion after a storm, or, if your wife has a tendency to leave the sink running in the laundry room and then forgets about it, and so then you get water all over the house multiple times. I don't know whose wife would do that, but just, in the total hypothetical that might happen, maybe you have mold. So Paris Restoration can help. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. They'll knock it out all the way down to the spores. It's parisrestoration.com, parisrestoration.com. One more time, parisrestoration.com. All right, we do it every day about this time. Musso has Around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators. The Kentucky Wildcats.
Wow, I never turned my mic on there, did I? Wow. All right. Florida safety's back with the team, and Kentucky hired an assistant offensive line coach.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Let's regroup. Joel Wyatt, 4-star in the class of 2026. He's an athlete out of Murfreesboro. He announced Monday that he committed to the Vols over Vanderbilt. 6'4", 195, 22nd commit for Tennessee. He's a two-way athlete, expected to play defense at Tennessee. 4-star consensus in the composite. Top 50 player, number 5 athlete, and the number 2 player in the state of Tennessee. He will be a Vol.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
4-star defensive back NASCAR McCoy has committed to Ole Miss. Just an elite name. 6'2", 185-pounder out of Buford High School. Committed to the Rebs in an event over at Atlanta. Chose Ole Miss over Georgia, Miami, and Michigan. Composite 4-star, number 39 safety, number 53 player in the state of Georgia for 2025.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
South Carolina landed its 4th defensive back commitment of 2026. This is Cassie Barnes. He announced his pledge at a ceremony at his high school. 6'2", 190 pounds. Barnes chose the Gamecocks over Kentucky, Miami, Mississippi State, and others. 47th ranked corner in the nation, number 27 player in South Carolina.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And last but not least, Arkansas adds another pitcher. This one from the JUCO ranks. Jacob Imoto announced his commitment to the Hogs on X. Spent his freshman season at Palomar College in San Marcos. 20 appearances, a 4-2 record, and a 2.45 ERA. 52 strikeouts. That's around the SEC.
Hughes, I'm glad you turned your mic on so we could hear about NASCAR. If we'd missed that, I'd have been really, really disappointed.
I mean, bro, that's such an elite name.
We would have missed it if you didn't think to just turn that button on. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We're at the Rustic in Houston today. Great spot in downtown. Here with our friends from the Louisiana Department of economic development, of course, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, and a great spot here in downtown Houston, the LSU Alumni Association as well, our great partnership with them. We're thrilled to be here at a great venue, man. If you're going to be in and around Houston, you're coming for a ball game, man, make sure you check out the Rustic. They've been great hosts to us. We appreciate Relief Windows, title sponsor for our Monday shows all throughout the year. I want to knock out a quick break. Connor Ware, former LSU pitcher Connor Ware in 15 minutes. Saints were back on the practice field today. Ross Jackson was there. You can get his full comprehensive write-up and report at louisianasports.net, but Ross will be with us in 45 minutes. When we come back, though, I understand this may not be the most relevant thing for this audience, but I want to talk about it anyway. Virginia Tech has been charged or accused of tampering, and I have what might be considered by some of you a wild idea for what the FCS coach accusing Virginia Tech of tampering should do. I'll share that with you as we continue here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics. The LSU baseball team just made that awesome run to the College World Series Championship, the 8th in program history, and Action Industries was there all along the way. If you want to check them out online, it's actionindinc.com, Action Industries Incorporated, actionindinc.com. We're moving here toward August. Of course, turnaround season, if you live in that world, you know, runs through about October. So if you've got that turnaround coming up, you're looking for a great local reputable company to bid that job, would really appreciate it if you'd give Action Industries a call. One of the great things is they know who they are. You know, if you've not been satisfied with some of the work the mega contractors have done because you feel your 100-person job maybe isn't scalable to where the $200 million job companies are interested, Action Industries, that's their sweet spot, so check them out online. Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
All right, wrapping up hour number one. Of course, we appreciate Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com, title sponsor for our Monday shows all throughout the year. Please bear with me because I understand this is not exactly the story that's going to move the meter with our demographic, but I hope my explanation of why I think this is relevant or the direction to go with it does maybe at least make you think or consider. So, the head coach at North Carolina Central, I know, it's North Carolina Central, I know. His name is Trey Oliver. He is accusing Virginia Tech of tampering. Trey Oliver, who coaches at North Carolina Central, which is in the SMAC, the MEAC, excuse me. There are two HBCU leagues. There's the SWAC and the MEAC. North Carolina Central is in the MEAC. They actually won the title in 22 and 23, made a postseason appearance in 2023 in the FCS playoffs, so they're a good program. Well, they got a running back named Jamari Taylor, had a running back named Jamari Taylor. So he runs for 1,100 yards last year at NC Central. Well, Coach Oliver is doing an interview with the TV station and discloses that, quote, Virginia Tech was actually on my sideline recruiting our running back. That was pretty bold. I couldn't believe it. That's the quote. So the NC Central coach says, Virginia Tech's coach was on the sideline during the game recruiting my player. Okay. Ultimately, Jamari Taylor did go in the portal and landed at Virginia, not Virginia Tech. Irrelevant. My point is this. First of all, it is not okay for Virginia Tech's coach, if in fact this happened, to be on another team's sideline recruiting a player during a game. We all agree that's unacceptable. I think, however, Coach Oliver should use this as an opportunity, because the reality is there is no world in which a great player at NC Central is ever going to stay at NC Central in this current culture of transfer portal, revenue share, NIL. They will always be looking for the better opportunity. I want to remind you of this conversation. February of 2024, so about a year and a half ago, on this show, I was in Lake Charles, Will Wade sitting 2 feet to my right. We're having a conversation. He's at McNeese, and he addresses this exact same thing. This is what Will Wade said on this show about this exact type of situation.
Look, we're having a lot of success this year. I mean, I got kids, they're going to be out. I mean, I got one kid came to me and said, hey, such and such reached out through somebody and offered me this. I said, bro, you got to go. I said, it's time to get to stepping. I don't know why are you, I mean, I appreciate you letting me know. I appreciate you talking to me. I'm glad you ran that by me, but you got to go. And so, and like I told him, I said, well, look, we'll use you and we'll go get the next person just like you, and we'll do the same thing. It's no different than when we were at the higher level, when we were at LSU. You know, you tried to recruit kids and get them to the NBA or get them drafted. And then, you could try to hang on to a kid for an extra year maybe. But my philosophy was let them go. When they're ready to go, let them go, and then we'll sell that to the next guy. And so the same thing here. We're trying to get kids that want to go high major. We'll be a stopping point for them to get to high major. And then once they go high major, we'll go tell the next guy that we're recruiting, hey, look, this is what we did for him. We took him from here. He averaged this. Now he averaged this for us. Now he's going high major. And it worked out for him. So let's just go do the same thing. You can't be scared to just replenish and keep it going. And so I just think it's the same thing you do at the high major level, just different. Instead of sending them off to the NBA or sending them off to the G League or wherever it may be, now you're sending them to another high major program, and then you go get the next batch and try to do the same thing and then sell it again.
If you're at NC Central, invite all of the Power 5 coaches, recruiters, recruiting staffers. Invite them to your games, to your practices. Come scout our roster. It's no different. It sounds so foreign and wild, but it is no different than what happens on high school campuses every year during recruiting season. College coaches are there to watch and to recruit. And you know what that's going to do? It's going to benefit that high school. because of the players running through. And no different when Trey Oliver or some FCS school goes to recruit players, say, hey, look, I know you're a 3-star or a no-star. You can go sit on the bench at a Power 4 or a G5, or you can come play for us, like actually get on the field and get 200 carries or 1,000 defensive snaps and show how good you are. And then next year, boom, you're in the portal and you're making money with a revenue share and NIL deal. Like, sell that component. And it's not wild. I'm not saying Will Wade did it. He did it successfully for 2 years at McNeese, and now he's making a couple $1 million a year as the coach at NC State, and he's going to win there because no matter what era, culture, dynamic that is involved, same as Nick Saban did throughout the many different evolutions of college football, he found ways to adapt, adjust, and to win. So I get it. NC Central, be ticked that a coach was on your sideline, but maybe be grateful that he showed you the path to say, hey, this is how you can recruit and get the next crop of great players into your program. I get it, it's different, it's foreign, and people don't like it, but it ain't changing. You ain't putting the genie back in the bottle or the toothpaste back in the tube or whatever you want to say. Hour number 2 of AFR is next.
AFR.
All right, as we wrap up hour number 1 here, we remind you about South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com, SouthPointVW.com. At South Point Volkswagen, they are Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, tell you all the time, just put Volkswagen on your list. If you've never driven a Volkswagen, try it. I was in that number 14 years ago. South Point wanted to do some advertising with us. I said, I've never driven a Volkswagen before. I want to drive all your cars. Went and drove every single model that they had. Fell in love with the brand. And since then, that's all Erica and I have driven. You go in the parking lot here at the Rustic, you'll see my Volkswagen Atlas Crossport. Love it. Great gas mileage, performance, safety features, and at South Point Volkswagen, great price as well. It's South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com, SouthPointVW.com, South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints and Pelicans, sports on demand, in-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Colorado Buffaloes coach Dion Sanders says today he is cancer-free after surgery for bladder cancer, and he plans to coach this season.
I'm able, I'm strong, I'm ready. I'm still probably about 12 pounds down. I'm going to get that right. I'm going to fill these overalls up like no other. But it has been a tremendous journey, and I'm truly thankful.
Dion Sanders. Broncos wideout Cortland Sutton will get a 4-year, $92 million extension in Denver. 49ers defensive end Tyrann Jackson out of the hospital after leaving Sunday's practice in an ambulance. The team continues to monitor him. The baseball trade deadline is Thursday. Today, the Tigers get starter Chris Paddock and right-hander Randy Dobnak in a deal with the Twins. In return, Minnesota gets a prospect. 55-year-old Texan Michael Lewis is sentenced to 18 months in prison today after pleading guilty to stalking and harassing Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Tuesday. Last year, I told you the Dolphins would regret the Tua deal. A year later, I'll tell you why I was absolutely right. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. We are in Houston today, live from the Rustic in downtown, courtesy of our friends at Louisiana Department of Economic Development, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, encouraging you to come home, Louisiana. You can visit comehomelouisiana.com, comehomelouisiana.com. A lot to do at the bottom of this hour. We're heading to New Orleans. Ross Jackson, been covering Saints camp for LouisianaSports.net. First full padded practice of training camp so far for the Saints. Ross will be with us here in about 30 minutes to delve into that. But Jay Johnson is piecing together his 2026 roster coming off a national championship. And part of that, of course, is losing a slew of really talented players to the Major League Baseball draft. And among them is Connor Ware, who was selected in the 15th round by the New York Mets, signed his professional contract, so he's off to pro ball. And Connor Ware, good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here on AFR. Hey, Connor, it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for the time. How are you?
Doing good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. It's our pleasure. Hey, let me just start with the most obvious ones immediately, then we'll go backwards. When the Mets call in round 15, what was that decision like that you had to make, whether to accept their offer or maybe consider a return to LSU?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot to process, a lot to think about. Me and my family had kind of talked about, how the draft would go before. So thankfully we already talked about that and kind of figured out what I wanted to do. But yeah, I mean, it was a tough decision. Obviously, coaches are awesome at LSU. It's always a tough decision to kind of turn down school going back. But ultimately, my dream is to play baseball. So when they gave me that opportunity, I was glad to take it.
Did you know when – so often, of course, we know like the top 10 rounds, the bonus slot pool, and if you're outside of round 10, it could be a little more ambiguous. Did you know when the Mets called in round 15 that you had accepted a contract at that point and that you were going to sign your professional deal?
I wasn't 100% at the moment. It kind of all happened so fast. Yeah. I didn't really hear much like during the draft. I was kind of just watching and hoping stuff. But yeah, it could just kind of all happen really fast. I wasn't 100% positive yet, but after a lot of thought, I decided to go that direction.
What did I'm certain you talked to Jay Johnson or Nate Yeske afterwards. What did the LSU coaches have to say?
they were all super happy for me. They're all super supportive. Obviously, you know, they wanted me to come back, but I also, you know, they understood that, you know, this was my dream and this is what I wanted to do. And so they were really supportive of that and just appreciative. And I thank them for that, for being super understanding.
Connor Ware is our guest. If you had come back, what did they discuss with you, Connor? Like, what would that role or opportunity have looked like?
You know, it kind of just, you know, would have been an open slot, you know, just going into the fall, you know, proving myself, you know, going into the fall, you know, especially with a brand new team like we would have had this year, you know, it's everybody's game, you know. So just had to go back in and prove myself again.
Sure. Of course, going out a national champion is it's never a bad thing, right? If you've had now a month to give some thought to the amazing run that you all went on. When you're asked for the rest of your life about that team, that championship run, what are you going to say?
I'm super thankful. You know, I can't express how thankful I am to just have the team that we had. All the guys on there were just incredible, all great friends. You know, I'm super blessed to be able to call them a family for the rest of my life. I think the big thing about winning a national championship, me and a couple of my friends have talked about, is just, you know, that group is going to be together forever. And so the memory of that team and all the guys are always going to be connected. And I think that's what I'm most appreciative of. And I think that's what I'm, you know, most thankful for going into this next phase of life, is just that I'll be able to be with these guys, you know, for the rest of my life, and I'll always be in contact with them.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you thought about it, like, obviously, you know, the 2000 team had their 25-year reunion this year, and in 25 years, like, that's going to be you guys back at the box, being celebrated and being honored that way. It's really cool. Have you thought about, like, have you all had any talk about the championship rings or anything like that yet?
We haven't yet. I think they're going to surprise us, but I'm super excited to get back to Baton Rouge for that and see all the guys again.
Yeah, so where are you now?
I am in Port St. Lucie, Florida, at the Complex League with the Mets. So.
Oh, so have the Mets already given you your rookie ball assignment?
No, not yet. I'm still in rehab. You know, I had that back injury towards the beginning of the year that I was kind of working through, so they're kind of shut me down for a little bit, just focus on getting that 100% healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, I did want to ask you about that, because there were always whispers that you had the back injury and maybe it limited you a little bit. I mean, obviously you had the great outing back in Arlington against Dallas Baptist near the beginning of the season. How, and now that the season's over, maybe you can elaborate a bit, like, how healthy or how injured were you this year?
You know, I always wanted to help the team. I was good enough to throw, and that's why I kept going out there. And, you know, I wanted to help in whatever way possible. I definitely wasn't 100%, but, you know, I was good enough to throw, and that's ultimately what I wanted to do, to help the team regardless, you know, however I could. So,
yeah. When you think back to Omaha and you all going on that amazing run, are there games or moments in games that when you close your eyes, you could still visualize, like, from your vantage point, what you saw that you hope you'll be able to remember and tell those stories forever?
Yeah, absolutely. It's super surreal, you know. You know, when I was standing with a couple of my friends, you know, roommates in the dugout, you know, we were just sitting there talking and like, man, we just need to take this all in. Like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm really glad we were able to do that and kind of get those memories in my head, things we can kind of remember for the rest of our lives, stories we can tell our kids, and I'm super thankful to have those experiences.
What story do you think you'll tell your kids first?
I think the first one I'll tell is just the walk-off against Arkansas. That was probably the craziest game I've ever been a part of, and just such a roller coaster of emotions. So that's definitely the first one I'll tell. I feel like I'll be able to relive that moment for the rest of my life.
I mean, was there a moment you're watching that, like, the ball ricochets off of Davalon's shoulder, or like any of that stuff? Like, what of all that was the craziest for you sitting there watching, taking it all in?
Yeah, that was definitely probably the craziest. I was down there in the bullpen with all the guys. I was sitting down there with Anthony and Chase, and that happened, and we were just all in shock, and we were just super, like, such a mix of emotions, because I kind of felt bad for Davalon. Such a great player that definitely wouldn't have been in that situation without him. But at the same time, you know, obviously excited because we get put in a situation where we can walk off the game. So it was kind of just a roller coaster of emotions, and I'm super glad the way it turned out. Super thankful.
Connor Ware is our guest. Hey, man, let me ask you. Obviously, you know a lot of the young guys on this staff maybe who didn't play a giant role that will probably have an expanded role next year. Anybody that you think fans maybe didn't get to see a bunch from this year that they will in the future that you think are really talented guys that will have an impact?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to leave anybody out. They're all super, super great. You know, looking back at all the freshmen, you got Kaysen, Cooper, William, Maverick Rizzi. Looking back at all those freshman guys on the staff, they are all super mature. And I feel like for their age and for their experience in college baseball that they all played a pretty big role at the end of the season just for being a freshman. And I'm super excited to see where they are going into the next season. They're definitely all going to be huge leaders on the staff. And so I'm super excited to kind of see how they lead and where that staff ends up next year, because I think they have potential to be the greatest in the country.
Connor Ware, now part of the Mets organization. Hey, before you go, did you ever have to face Derek Curiel in an inter squad?
Yeah, unfortunately I did.
How did that go, man? What's it like throwing to him?
It's always tough because he has such a good eye and he knows exactly what the zone is. So, you can't throw anything in the zone because he's going to hit it. And if you throw anything out of the zone, he's going to take it. So you're always in a bind with that. But in the fall was so crazy. I feel like every time he was up to bat, he worked himself into a hitter's count. So it's pretty incredible to watch. I'm super excited to see what he's going to do this year.
Yeah, man. What a great season that we all got to go along for the ride that you all took us on, man. Congrats on being a national champion. Good luck with the Mets in your next phase, and thanks for taking some time today, man. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Tiger fans.
Of course. That is Connor Ware, forever a national champion with the 2025 LSU Tigers. It's interesting. You heard him say it there. It's you can't help but wonder a little bit of what if he had been healthy, because all of the reports in fall were that Connor Ware was LSU's best arm in the fall. I mean, I talked to scouts who had seen him pitch for 5 years that were like, if anyone in that rotation falters, Ware is the next guy up. And it was very clear that he just wasn't healthy. But you heard him say it. He wanted to help the team, so he's healthy enough to throw. When he could take the ball, he did. But it clearly limited his effectiveness. But a guy, 15th round pick of the Mets, signed his pro contract, opted for pro ball, and I don't think there's any doubt. Like, just the physical ability he has from the left side, that's a guy that he goes and gets healthy, he's going to be awesome and have a great chance to be a big leaguer. So we wish him well. We appreciate Connor Ware for a couple of minutes. Hey, we're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Even if you live where we are today in Houston, it doesn't matter. You want to buy 200 acres for a hunting camp in Texas, First South Farm Credit can help you do that. They've got branches in Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, but they can help you buy land anywhere in the contiguous 48. So if it's 50 acres in St. Francisville or Clinton to build your family's dream home, maybe you live in New Orleans and you want to move to the North Shore, work in New Orleans so you can have the rural lifestyle but work in the city. So many people are doing that now. You go buy that 100 acres in Tangipahoa or whatever it may be. First South Farm Credit can help make it happen. Make your first call to First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com for First South Farm Credit. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Our buddy Dan Mathews from Sports Talk 790, part of the Sean Salisbury Show, is coming out, hanging out with us on site. He's going to jump on set with me next when we come back from this break. And then Ross Jackson in 17 minutes giving us an update on Saints camp. We will continue here from the Rustic, courtesy of our friends at Louisiana Economic Development, the Department of Louisiana Economic Development, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, the LSU Alumni Association. Awesome to be here at the Rustic in downtown Houston. Stay here.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by our friends over at Duplessis Builders. I'll tell you what would be awesome right now, going to swan dive into a pool. It's about 94 degrees with a heat index about 110 in downtown Houston. Yes, we're shaded. We got fans blowing, but I'm going to tell you, man, a cool dive into a pool right now would be welcomed. Our friends at Duplessis Builders makes that happen every single day. It doesn't matter if you want to build that custom pool from scratch. Maybe you bought a home with a pool that needs to be renovated or remodeled. Maybe you want that sauna, the putting green to beautify your outdoor space. Duplessis Builders does all of that. And congrats to Derek and the crew over at Duplessis. They were named by Pool and Spa Magazine a top 50 pool builder in America. Look, lots of pool companies can build you a beautiful pool. But the customer service experience and the quality, there's only one. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Back on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We are in Houston, Texas, at the Rustic downtown. Awesome event with our friends here at the LSU Alumni Association, the Louisiana Department of Economic Development, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. Of course, you can learn more at comehomelouisiana.com. Comehomelouisiana.com. A guy who has strayed, or I should say has Louisiana ties, but co-host of the Sean Salisbury Show weekday mornings on Sports Talk 790 here in Houston, our buddy Dan Mathews. Popeye, good to see you, man.
What's up, man? Welcome to Houston.
Thank you, dude. I love coming to Houston. You know I've got a lot of love for this city. We spent nearly a year here with Drew when he was born, so every time I'm on 10 West and I see the skyline, it sort of warms the subcockles of my heart. A lot of people can joke about the 610 loop, and you can joke about the traffic and all the everything, but I mean, the Texas Med Center is literally, not to be too heavy, but it's It's literally the reason my son's alive. And so I love coming back here.
Well, it's also, though, too, I mean, if you're a local, you don't call them by 610, 10, 59, anything
what
like
do you
that.
Say?
It's
Learn
the
me.
Katy Freeway. Huh? It's the East Tex Freeway.
Okay.
I think the Loop is still the Loop, but it's just called the Loop and then the Beltway. So everything's got a name. If you're not from here and we tell you, I'll take the East Tex Freeway, you're like, the hell does that even mean?
I don't know what that means at all. Like I was here for almost a year, and I did AFR. If you don't remember, for those 9 months that we lived in Houston, I would leave the hospital every day, and I would do AFR from the iHeart studios. Now, I wasn't in the 790 studio. Eddie Martini was very kind and gracious and basically converted a production room into a studio that connected back to Baton Rouge, and that's where I did my show. But everybody at iHeart Houston was great to me, man. And I was, they didn't have to be, but they welcomed me, and it was awesome. But I went up 59 every day. So what is 59 called?
So if you were going up 59, I would say
from the Med Center to
you're
59.
the East Tex. If you're going like towards Sugar Land, that's the Southwest Freeway.
Yeah, I would go 59 to 610, then exit Post Oak, and then was over there. I'll move studios now, but anyway, I had a great time.
Not too far, but yeah.
It's odd that you and I, we talk often or text often. We don't see each other often. We saw each other just a couple of weeks ago in Atlanta for SEC Media Days. I know you're there primarily Texas A&M, covering the Texas schools, but did you go in, I love to ask the question, did you go in with maybe a certain preconceived notion and came away with a different one? Any team?
I mean, the funny thing is it's kind of like the age-old Texas is back. And the thing that I've been cautioning our audience against for the longest time is stop putting Arch up here, dude, because it's not going to be reached, and then you're going to be disappointed. And I understand, what talking season is. I understand that it's untapped potential because the most popular quarterback on campus is the 5-star, high 4-star guy that has never played.
The backup,
because that guy
is
the one.
Awesome.
Because the head coach is a moron and just stubborn and doesn't want to play him. So then that's finally the case. But look, I mean, you heard Steve Spurrier, what he said a few weeks ago. Look, if Arch was really that great of a quarterback with that group of receivers they had last year, which you still have NFL guys.
Yeah.
By the way, those guys aren't there anymore. And I understand how well they've recruited. And they got to go up to Ohio State and play that very first game of the season. I mean, you've seen it with LSU over the last few years.
Yeah, thanks
you lose
for that
game.
Thanks, Dan.
It pains me too. It pains me as well.
My guy's an LSU guy. He's wearing his LSU shirt.
Man.
If you're listening, not watching, Dan's rocking his LSU shirt.
Countless birthdays that have been ruined by Florida State and by USC. And you better, as hell, not have Clemson ruin it again because I've got too many Clemson friends, and I can't hear that.
But we're not going. Like, we've done shows from the opener, from the Rose Bowl, from Vegas last year. Like, we're not doing the Clemson. Well, first of all, it's just there's no good place in Clemson, South Carolina to do it or to stay, right? You have to be in Greenville. So we're like, we're gonna do with the LSU Alumni Association the Vanderbilt trip in Nashville instead.
Sweet.
Better city.
Yeah.
Probably a game you shouldn't have trouble with. I mean, Alabama had trouble with them a year ago. 40-35, take that. You got Diego Pavia, take that. Bama is burning. So
I'm sure Cruz Oxenrider is probably going to tag you in something now. Just so you just did that again. So goodbye, you.
I don't know what that means, but we can roll with it. Do you believe in A&M as an up and comer? Because that's my. I think that's the team that's going to be better than most people are giving them credit this year.
I mean, obviously LSU found out that Marcel Reed is pretty good, but how many times have we seen that out of A&M quarterbacks where they have that huge pop game and then they completely fall off? I mean, I'm not saying that's going to be the case with Reed, but I forget who said it, if it was Chris Gordy or whoever it was in our group, but I heard this a couple of weeks ago in Atlanta. Until Texas A&M doesn't go 8-4, I'm picking them to go 8-4.
That's fair.
Because, I mean, it's been the same thing every single year. It's the national hype train. Oh, they finally got it figured out. All of these different things. Now, I will say this. I think they finally have the right head coach. And I think that probably Trev Alberts is going to go to the fan base a little bit more when they're calling for, all right, now let's get rid of Velco and finally say, guys, we can't keep paying people to not coach. Like, soon enough, we'll run out of money. I understand oil still comes out of the ground, but you're paying Jimbo to now be a talking head on ACC Network and not work. I mean, soon enough, you've got to be able to at least see the thing through. And I do think that Elko actually, as being a good head coach, I mean, saw it last year. I hate to say it. He outcoached Brian Kelly. He outcoached him big time in that game. And then, I mean,
I don't know
you
that
see
I
the
go
talent
there,
they
Dan.
have.
I don't know that I believe that. I mean, the game at Kyle Field, LSU was so firmly in control, and Nuss threw the bad pick, and they put in Marcel Reed, and LSU couldn't stop a running quarterback. I mean, it felt like that's when the game unraveled. I don't know that I'll look at Elko Kelly on that one. But I agree with you on Elko. I think he's a good coach. I just think good stable of running backs, good offensive line. I think just your point. I think Elko's a really good defensive coach. But you're right, man. Last year in the opener, I was sitting in Vegas at the Circus Swim, right, the big 100-foot screen, and we're watching.
Jealous for you.
Well, dude, it was cool. It was a very cool thing. But I'm watching Notre Dame, Texas A&M on the not 100, like the 100-foot. You know, the one that's like 60 yards long.
Can't miss it.
The giant thing.
Yeah.
And I remember tweeting like, Connor Wegg, this is the guy that everybody said was going to be a first-round draft pick. Of course, the dude loses his job. He's not even at A&M anymore. So there is that component of it. But I'm maybe a little more bullish on Marcel Reed than on Wegman. Is it fair?
No, I mean, he's going to have a good run game. So, I mean, he's got that with Moss. I mean, that's not nothing. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 4 out of their 5 returning offensive linemen are back. Yeah. So, again, that helps too. So, I mean, that's what A&M, when R.C. Slocum was there and they had really good defense and they had a stellar run game, it was the other part of it that got him run out of town. But ask Aggie fans if they wouldn't go back for more of what R.C. Slocum gave for years. Because, hell, kind of like what Tennessee had been up until Josh Heupel got there, A&M had been the same way of thinking, hey, get rid of the old guy, get rid of the old fogey. He can't do it anymore. And then you're chasing it constantly, trying to hire and fire coaches and trying to be able to build up that continuity. But with rev share, everything, I mean, Chris Gordy pointed this out to me off air one time. Not a single head coach in the SEC was fired this year. Not one. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens this next offseason, but with all of the other things, you've finally probably got like the big money people who ADs have to go to with the hat and say, hey, can you pay us to, be able to buy out this coach? And they're like, dude, soon enough, no. Like, I've got to see the results if I'm putting in money to this thing, and you're not getting that as much.
When those wells run dry, it'll be interesting to see if we start to see contracts that don't have the enormous buyouts. I don't think we're going to solve that today, but Trev Alberts has said it and said it best. College football, college athletics doesn't have a revenue problem. It has a spending problem. So when you get spending under control, a lot of those things will fall into line. Dan Mathews, Sports Talk 790 here in Houston with us for a couple of more minutes. Let me get a thought on LSU this season. What's your take?
Well, I mean, up front in the trenches, it's going to be kind of a remains to be seen because, I mean, even last year with Campbell and the group that they had, you expected more, right? Like, didn't you think that they were going to be in the running game? I mean, that's the biggest thing. So if they can shore both of those things up, they've got the skills. They've got much improved players in the secondary. That helps. And, I mean, having Whit Weeks back, you saw what he meant to that defense last year. So, I mean, there's no reason that I think that if nothing else, this could have shades of 2019 where the good thing in 2019, you had a week to prepare to go to Texas and win that game. They don't win the national championship that year unless they go to Austin and win that game. This is kind of a similar thing at Clemson, and it's going to be a raucous atmosphere, all of that. We're the real Death Valley, of course, fine, whatever. But all of those things are going to be there. That you win that game, then you can start believing. But you want to, even with the expanded playoffs, just finally put yourself on the right track. I'm just begging for one thing. Yeah. I've already said the prayer for the Astros to win another World Series, and it happened. But then I've doubled back and said, hey, I already asked you once, so maybe can I throw that same prayer in?
God will grant many miracles. Are the Astros even close to that?
Yeah, they're 4 games up in the division.
That's fine. I don't care about your division. I mean, can you actually beat the Dodgers and win a World Series?
Well, I mean, we have to have more than half of the team off the IL. I mean, that would help.
Sad that Bregman's not here. Are you still sad about that?
I'm in a little bit, but I got over it pretty quickly when Isaac Paredes, before he just completely obliterated his hamstring. Before that happened, I was okay, but I mean, just please give us Jordan and Jeremy Pena back. That's all we ask.
It just goes
many more, but let's just start there first.
Dynastic runs are fleeting, and for every team in every sport, man, it's like I know we talk a lot about the Saints. I mean, the great run you had a decade and a half with Breeze and Peyton, and it's gone, and now you've spent a half decade sucking. And it's probably not going to end anytime soon.
Well, I mean, and Astros Twitter now is asking, once Jordan Alvarez is healthy again, do you trade him, trade Fromm, or any of these other people? I'm like, just because you rebuild doesn't mean it's going to be what it was.
No doubt. He's Dan Mathews, Sports Talk 790 here in Houston. You hear him weekday mornings on the Sean Salisbury Show with our guy Sean Salisbury. Give the big guy our best.
Yeah.
What you got?
Oh, I was going to say, shout out Chris Marler, Moose.
There you go.
Everybody back in studio.
Paul O'Neill.
Paul O'Neill, of course. How could I forget about Paulie?
Marler's not back in studio. Marler texted.
He's unloading boxes
he's
or
at
something.
Sam's Club. I'm like, did you go to the Sam's Club on Segan today? I'm like, you just, like, your first day in town and you decided to go to the worst part of Baton Rouge traffic. Like, God bless, it's only going to be better from here.
You got to learn the town.
I know. Thank you, dude. I appreciate
You're the best,
it.
bud.
Dan is actually my hero because he brought me shorts that I can put on. It's 110 degrees outside. All right, it's after further review. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll continue from the Rustic. Ross Jackson with a Saints camp report when we continue here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. So many different ways that Goodwood can help you attain and achieve your healthiest, most vital self. We talk a lot about hormone replacement therapy. Of course, they have that. But there's other things like BPC 157. If you're not familiar, body protection compound 157. Studies have shown an incredible ability to aid in things like recovery. So if you have an injury, I did an 8-week cycle. I'm on the 8-week cycle off right now, but the difference I felt in my back pain in those 8 weeks, I've only begun to truly notice being off how much it helped when I was on. And that's something I absolutely plan to continue. I'm not saying you definitively should do it. What I'm saying is, if you're a man and you want to live your more healthy, vital life where you wake up in the morning, tons of energy, ready to roll, you need to check out our friends at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit them online. Start there at yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
New Orleans Saints, their first full padded practice of training camp on Monday. Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net, Locked On Saints. He was there. He's here now. Ross, how are you, man?
Hey, buddy. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Dude, it's our pleasure. By the way, hat tip. I know I've mentioned it many times, but Ross doing an amazing job at LouisianaSports.net with the camp reports. You're not going to find a more comprehensive report, more detailed report, and totally free. So get it all there at LouisianaSports.net. Let me begin with what I believe is the obligatory question for every camp practice. How do the quarterbacks look?
Yeah, okay, good. I thought you were going to ask me if it was hot outside. I was going to say, let's talk about something else. I don't want to think about that. No, but the quarterbacks, for the most part, look, I'm going to be honest, like, today was pretty uninspiring, really, from all three of those guys. And that's going to be the case when you go into your first set of padded practices and things like that. There's a little bit of a recalibration you have to go through. Some of these guys haven't worn pads since January or February. And so getting back to that sort of situation is something you've got to adjust to. But they found their little moments to kind of make plays and things like that, which has been consistent over the course of the first 5 days of camp. But looking at them in totality, I think you see good things and you see places where they struggle. I think so far Spencer Rattler's been the most consistent and maybe best quarterback of the trio. He's the only one that hasn't taken third-team reps either, though, so I don't know how much that plays into things. But right now I would put him pretty comfortably right now at number one amongst the beginning, but obviously we're just 5 days of camp in, and so things will continue to go. And especially as they sort of get more opportunities with these padded practices to deal with the pressure that's been coming from guys like Chase Young and Carl Granderson, who have kind of been on fire, seeing which one of those three really one of the two between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Scott, really can kind of manage the pressure. I think that might be one of the earliest deciding factors for that week one battle.
You, I noticed in your report that a big part of the focus today was the run game install. And Ross, I do think this is interesting because when you and I were having these conversations a year ago, really the biggest part of the offense was Clint Kubiak. For the first time in 15 years, there was a new offensive coordinator, and you went into such detail about like the wide zone, right, the different style of run. What do we know, or do we know yet anything about the approach to the running game with Kellen Moore?
Yeah, I think when you talk about Kellen Moore's run game, we have to look at two specific things. The run game as brought to you by the running backs, and then the running game that's brought to you by all of the other players that can contribute. So starting with the running backs, I think the thing that's most consistent with any Kellen Moore offense is his ability to be able to play to the strengths of who is in that backfield. So while Alvin Kamara will still get his opportunities out in space and in that wide zone offense, which is what the Saints ran 69.8% of the time last year, league most outside of the tackles rushing last year, we'll probably still see a good bit of between the tackles rushing with guys like Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, Cam Akers, whoever that other complimentary between the tackles rusher ends up being. And so I think that you'll see that. You're also going to see a pretty good blend of both zone, which is basically, zone running is more about kind of blockers trying to set up multiple gaps for the running back to be able to read those gaps, read where the gaps are being shot by the defense, and then choose the gap that's not those. They usually try to open up 3 different gaps in zone run plays. And then you also still see some of the man or gap scheme runs where everything's really about trying to just power through, open up a hole for that running back and allow that running back to be able to attack that lane. So I think you'll see both of those sides. The other piece to this is all of the other players that will contribute to the run game. You're going to see jet sweeps. You're going to see end arounds. You're going to see RPOs from the quarterback. You're going to see designed runs by the quarterback. We saw designed runs for Spencer Rattler in his first team reps the first day of practice. And so I think that that's the other area where you're really going to look for Kellen Moore to bring things into sort of the modern day, as Cesar Ruiz called it today, when it comes to that run game.
I'd love to ask a follow-up on Kendre Miller because we all know the story, right? Over a couple of seasons, the inability to stay healthy, the extreme potential, it just hasn't worked. I know you wrote about Kendre Miller. You all had a chance to speak to him a day ago. If you would, share with us your 10,000-foot observations of Miller early 5 days in now through camp.
Yeah, I'll start with what we saw from him at the podium because I think the qualities that he expressed at the podium are still the qualities that we're seeing on the field. And getting to speak to him after practice the other day, like, look, I'm still very much in my infancy, right? Like, I've only been covering this team in person from about, 2020. And so Kendre coming in 2023, he's like one of those players. I haven't seen many careers begin and end in my coverage, but he's one of those guys that, I will see the beginning and end of his career at some point. So I think that, when you start to see some of those guys, you kind of start to see a bit of their story start to, formulate. And his story is one that's really kind of challenging. He didn't have a lot of injury issues in college, and all of a sudden he showed up in New Orleans, and he's kind of lived on injured reserve, as he said. And so now he's kind of in a place where he's feeling a little bit more free. He's expressing a little bit more joy. He feels a whole, weight load off of his shoulders in the fact that he's feeling healthy, and he feels like he has his body back. This is a guy that 2 years into his career last year needed that Giants game to remind him that he could still play football. I mean, that's kind of tragic when you really think about it, right? Like, for a guy that was, by the way, came into the league at 20 years old. And so you kind of see a little bit of the gratitude from him. And I think you see all that kind of play out on the field as well. He's working hard. He's dedicated. He's trying to run through tackles. He had a really nice run today in these padded practices, which kind of puts him back in his element. And we talked about kind of the split of, the wide zone or the outside runs versus the inside runs. Kellen Moore is a little bit more balanced. And so I think that's going to allow Kendre Miller to do a little bit more of what it is that he's best at, which is running between the tackles, running through contact, stick his foot in the ground, one cut, and get downfield. And I think that's one of the things that he's looking forward to most with this new offensive system that should support his skill set a bit more.
Couple more for you here. Ross Jackson is with us, LouisianaSports.net, and, of course, Locked on Saints. Make sure you subscribe YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. This was the first full padded practice. And, Ross, I don't really like to ask questions about the line of scrimmage until they put the pads on, because what can you really tell until they actually put pads on? So one day, but what can you really tell now that they put the pads on?
Yeah, look, either the Saints edge rushers, Chase Young and Carl Granderson, are really good, or the Saints tackles, Kelvin Banks Jr. and Taliesin Fuanga, are not doing a great job early on in practice. And that's always sort of the back and forth you got to take when it comes to, training camp. Is the offense good or is the defense bad? Is the defense good or is the offense bad? That balance. But, look, we know Taliesin Fuanga is really good. He was great starting at left tackle, a position he had never played before. We know Kelvin Banks is really, really good. Outland Trophy winner, Lombardi Trophy or Lombardi Award winner as well. Like, this is the guy that is an outstanding offensive lineman. And so I think the thing that we're learning is that guys like Chase Young and Carl Granderson getting to kind of stand up, or rather even pick their deployment, pick their alignment in this new Brandon Staley system, are being elevated big time. Those guys have been disruptive. They've consistently been in the backfield. I write 99 and 96 in my notes every single day because those guys are constantly making plays, either pressures or what we would call would-be sacks in a non-contact situation. These guys were top 17 to both of them in pressures last year. The issue was finishing when they got to the quarterback. That's what we still need to see, and we won't see that until they stop hitting each other and start hitting players on other teams. But for right now, I think that if you're looking for a building block to feel a little bit of optimism about this thing's pass rush, it starts with Carl Granderson and Chase Young.
The hitting others is really right around the bend when you look at the Saints heading out in a few weeks to California to practice and then take on the Chargers as the preseason schedule is just around the bend. Ross Jackson, hey, before you go, we probably are all guilty of not talking enough about special teams, but today, first full padded practice, anything worth noting with the specialists?
Yeah, I got a couple things. I think right now one of the first things that you're looking at is, like, teams are really, really prepping to cover kicks. And I know that sounds like, oh, duh. But, like, they made that rule change this year to where the kickoff out of the back of the end zone now, instead of taking you to the 30, takes you to the 35. And that's enough to change the way that teams play special teams across the league when it comes to kickoff. And so a lot of the physicality that we saw kind of got ticked up during those special teams drills where they were running a little bit of that kickoff coverage, getting ready for, right field, left field, these types of things. So that's one thing. I will say Blake Grupe, like you and I had talked about the kicker battle before the season, before training camp started. Blake Grupe is off to a fantastic start. He's 14 of 15 so far through camp, with his one miss being from about 49 yards during a random rain downpour that happened during day 3 of camp. And he hit a 51-yarder today that would have been good from 60 pretty easily. And he's hitting everything right down the middle. So Blake Grupe looks really, really good during this camp. He's kind of running uncontested right now with Charlie Smith struggling a bit, 5 of 10 so far, and a lot of his misses between 40 and 50, and that's been consistent for him. So accuracy is still a thing for Charlie Smith to get figured out. But right now, Blake Grupe is looking really, really solidly placed to continue to be the starting kicker for the team, and probably a more successful season than we've seen for him over the course of the past couple of years.
Ross Jackson on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola, at Ross Jackson Nola. Subscribe to the Locked On Saints podcast. Make sure you read Ross's reports every day over at LouisianaSports.net. In all seriousness, I don't think you're going to find a more comprehensive report. I know I've edited them; they're 6 pages long, and free, by the way, and free at LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls. Go read them every day. Get your Saints coverage there at LouisianaSports.net. Ross, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. You take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
All right, bud. Be well. It is After Further Review, brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020, no matter your age or your refractive issue. We're getting back into the back-to-school time. You're probably getting the kiddos' eyes checked. Remember, the Williamson Eye Center, a full-service optical shop, so you can have your annual eye exam. You can buy your contacts or glasses. And if you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, they've got a refractive procedure for you, no matter your age or your refractive issue. But again, it's back to school time. Make sure you get the kiddos' eyes checked. Book that appointment at the Williamson Eye Center with locations all over Greater Baton Rouge, including their newest location in St. Francisville. It's the Williamson Eye Center, WilliamsonEye.com, WilliamsonEye.com. Appreciate Ross Jackson. Yeah, I don't know whether to be encouraged by the pass rush reports or discouraged for the offensive line, because your last 2 first-round picks you've used on your tackles now with Banks at left and Fuaga at right. And you've got Granderson and Chase Young, 2 guys you've invested a lot of money and resources in to being really good pass rushers. And last year, the New Orleans Saints were in the bottom half of the NFL in sacks. Chase Young was top 10 in pressures, but the Saints as a whole were bottom half of the league in sacks. They just didn't get home. So you want to see that number tick up, but it's always sort of the confounding thing. And Ross alluded to it, and he's right. It's whenever you're watching good on good, it's, are you encouraged because the pass rush is good, or are you discouraged that the first and second year tackles are struggling? It's, you won't find out until they go play the Chargers. And I don't know that you're going to have a definitive answer, but you're going to start to get those answers revealed to you. And I'm not trying to make too much of Kelvin Banks' first padded practice in the NFL. By the way, here's Chase Young. Good luck, kid. You know what I mean? So it'll be an evolution, but that's definitely something to watch. Encouraging on the defensive end. Certainly maybe a little concerning. We'll see how it continues to develop on the offensive side. Okay, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We're here at the Rustic in downtown Houston with our friends from the LSU Alumni Association, the Louisiana Department of Economic Development, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, encouraging those Louisianians who have gone astray to come home Louisiana. Visit comehomelouisiana.com, comehomelouisiana.com. So much investment going in. Economic investment going into the state to create new jobs and to bring you home. So visit comehomelouisiana.com, comehomelouisiana.com. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. Don't you move.
After Further Review.
If you're a business owner and you need to find maximum efficiency and productivity, well, you got to find the right people. That goes without saying. The best way to maximize efficiency and productivity is having the right people in the right positions in your organization. If you've struggled with hiring the right people, Glow Resources can help. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. They specialize in skilled blue-collar labor. They have their professional placement division, so no matter what type of white-collar job you're looking for, from office assistants to C-level management, our friends at Glow Resources can help. Now, they are not a staffing agency. So if you're looking for a job, do not call Glow Resources. They want to talk to you, the business owner, you, the operations manager, you, the hiring manager, the person in charge of finding the right people for your business. Glow Resources can help you achieve that. Learn more online at glowresources.com. GLO, glowresources.com.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Wrapping up hour number 2 at the Rustic downtown Houston. If you know a Houston Tiger, tell them to come on and join us. We're here until 6, but tons going on here at the Rustic. Had great lunch earlier today. We're on this big stage outdoors, live music where they normally play live music, and cool bar selection as well. Come hang out here at the Rustic. We're here courtesy of our friends at the Louisiana Department of Economic Development, Baton Rouge Area Chamber, the LSU Alumni Association, and filling up with lots of Texas Tigers. Always good to be here in Houston. All right, Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we begin with Paul Skeens. He was on the bump Sunday afternoon for the Pittsburgh Pirates. 6 shutout innings from Skeens. Did walk 1, punched out 9. Kept it under 100 pitches as well. Paul Skeens now through 45 starts, the only pitcher in MLB history with a sub-2 ERA through 45 starts. His first 45 starts, I should say. And he got the win, 6-8. That is back-to-back starts that Paul Skeens gets the win, and it's another shutout. Pirates win that one 6-0. Maybe they're starting to figure this thing out. Just give him a couple runs, and he'll take you the rest of the way. Grant Taylor got the start for the Chicago White Sox a day ago. Really just an opener role. Threw an inning, gave up 2 earned runs, did punch out 2. Unfortunately, gets tagged with the loss, so his record falls to 0-2. Josh Smith, what a day for Josh Smith. Playing first base, batting leadoff, 3 out of 4. The big one, his 9th home run of the season. It was a 2-run shot. He scored twice. The 2 RBIs also drew a walk. He's just had an absolutely phenomenal season up to this point, and it continues for the Texas Rangers. Hats off, congratulations, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, both members of the Madden 99 overall club. Just 7 players earning the distinction. Jets and Jamar, each one of the 7, up there with the likes of Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, Myles Garrett. Pretty good company for those two. Angel Reese misses yet another game for the Chicago Sky. She continues to deal with a back injury. This is 3 or 4 games in a row. She has not played since the All-Star game when she contributed a few minutes off the bench there for her team. And Anissa Morrow got the start for the Connecticut Sun on Sunday. 8 and 11 for Morrow, 24 minutes all in total. Connecticut Sun got the win as well. Their 4th of the season. That's Tigers in the pros.
Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. Look, this morning got in the car, got on the road to Houston. Never have to worry about it because if you have any issues with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Miss Beth, I tell you, man, so proud of the work she and her whole team have done at Shawbills. Named the Modern Tire Dealer of the Year this year, a national award for Shawbills, which opened their doors in 1968 in Morgan City. They've expanded across South Louisiana, and now a national award because they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and they'll treat you like family, like free tire repairs for your entire family. If you didn't buy the tires at Shawbills for that vehicle, they'll repair them for free just because Mr. Charlie said in 1968 that's the way you're supposed to do business. It's Shawbills. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, y'all, we're wrapping up hour number 2. SportsCenter's coming up. Let's get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, I sort of teed off a little bit on the SEC media because they're all conference team, order to finish, all that sort of stuff after media days. Pro Football Focus took their stab at a preseason all-conference team for the SEC, and wouldn't you know it, the people who use more objective data nailed it. We'll tell you next on AFR.
After further review.
You know, the New Orleans Saints are out at practice right now, and if you catch any of the practice photos or videos, you'll notice, although some of you might think that this is abhorrent, there is a beautiful red and white Rouse's patch on the Saints practice jerseys. That's because Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, great supporters of the black and gold, and celebrating 65 years in business. Matter of fact, I literally just opened up Facebook a minute ago, and the first thing in my feed was a Rouse's post celebrating their first 65 years. Opened their first store in Metairie back in 1995. Everyone, when they opened the first store in Metairie in 95, everyone from Irma Thomas, Chef Harry Lee, they were all there in their commercials. 30 years now in Jefferson Parish, 65 years in business and still going strong. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, voted by you the best supermarket in Baton Rouge and all across the Gulf South. It's Rouse's, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
construction and roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
I'm Doug Brown. After quietly battling bladder cancer for the last several months, Colorado coach Dion Sanders says today he recently had surgery and is now cancer-free. Sanders plans to coach the Buffaloes this season. ESPN has learned Cowboys offensive lineman Rob Jones broke a bone in his neck during Sunday's practice. He'll likely be out 2 to 3 months. The first game of the preseason, Thursday night in Canton, Ohio, the Lions and the Chargers. ESPN's Eric Woodyard on the impact of new Lions coordinators John Morton and Kelvin Shepard.
They're also just in the same DNA of what already has been built. So I think these guys definitely are demanding their respect, and they're also just not trying to change everything because they know they have the same pieces in place. So, yeah, definitely. I think these guys are ready. It's going to be a little bit of adjustment for sure, but it's not going to be as crazy as some people might be thinking either.
From the NBA, Lakers guard Luka Doncic tells Men's Health magazine that after 2 months of dieting and working out, his whole body looks better. The story includes pictures of a significantly thinner Doncic.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows. Windows door siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. We're in Houston at the Rustic downtown. Be heading out to see the Stros and the Nats tonight at the ballpark. A 7:10 first pitch. A little bit of a bummer. We thought we were going to get to see Dylan Cruz, but Dylan on the injured list right now and making a rehab assignment start tonight for the Nationals. So won't be here at the ballpark. We're going to have a great time tonight anyway with our friends at the LSU Alumni Association. We're here with our friends from Louisiana Economic Development, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. Great website if you haven't seen it yet, comehomelouisiana.com, comehomelouisiana.com if you want to learn more. Encouraging those Tigers that have gone astray to find their way back to the boot, comehomelouisiana.com. We appreciate their sponsorship and partnership here on this event today. And thanks so much to the Rustic in downtown for hosting us. Awesome, awesome spot here right in the shadows of downtown Houston. Okay, a lot to do here in Hour 3. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. We left SEC Football Media Days, and, of course, the media projected order of finish, and all conference teams were released. And I had some not-so-great things to say about my media brethren after the all-conference teams preseason were released. Now, to be very clear, a preseason all-conference team is worth about the same as this rock in my hand. Actually, this rock is way more valuable because this rock is on this table preventing my paper from flying away A preseason all-conference team can't even help me do that. It's just a thing to create conversation. But I use it as a way to maybe, hopefully, help explain the thought process between what is valid, what is legitimate, what should be considered, what shouldn't, and then you can make your own decisions based on that. The point that I've made forever and ever and ever and ever and ever about the SEC preseason all-conference team that the media selects is, and this year was a great example, 1,100 credentialed media members in Atlanta, 204 submitted a ballot. So like 1 out of every 5. It is in no way a representative sample of the people that were there. And my hand's in the air, I didn't submit my ballot. Sometimes I do. This year I didn't want to. I didn't want to participate in that exercise. I told you how I would have voted in the order of finish, went through all of that, because by and large, I think what you have is, depending on where the event is and who is credentialed, an overwhelming majority of media from a certain market. For example, forever and ever and ever, the thing was in Hoover. And so you had every Alabama fan who had a blog, a website, a YouTube channel, like a Twitter account. Like, they were all credentialed, and they'd show up wearing Alabama rings on their hats, on their heads, and they'd vote everything for Alabama. It's just what it was. It's where you were. Last year it was in Dallas. This year, with Texas expected to have a pretty good year, there was a ton of Texas media there, and I think that was reflected in how things showed up. The thing that I thought and pushed back very much against was Lenora Sellers being chosen by the media as the first-team preseason all-conference quarterback. Again, nothing that matters a lick about anything, except it does illustrate something that I've talked about this entire offseason. The general college football collective does not understand how good Garrett Nussmeier was a season ago. He threw for 4,025 yards and is the only returning 4,000-yard passer in college football. I am not sitting here telling you definitively that Garrett Nussmeier is going to win the Heisman. I am not definitively telling you that LSU is going to go to the playoff or win a championship. I am not definitively telling you he's going to do any of these great things. What I'm telling you is LSU, by a country mile, has the most experienced and accomplished returning quarterback in the SEC. It's not close. If you want to consider Lenora Sellers, you're talking about a guy that for half the season last year, we made fun of him and called him Rec Specs because he was wearing like literal glasses under his helmet and couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Now, he made some dynamic athletic plays as a running quarterback, namely on a third down play against Clemson, which helped them win the game. He's an outstanding athlete. He's not proven anywhere close that he's ready to be an all-conference caliber quarterback. Same with DJ Lagway. His numbers mirrored Michael Van Buren's. Why are we propping up DJ Lagway instead of Michael Van Buren? Well, because Lagway was a 5-star. People know these go into the things that I've talked about forever. When you come into a preseason, local market people know their team deep and have surface-level understanding of every other team in the league. That's why most of that shouldn't be considered. So when Pro Football Focus puts out their all-conference preseason team, I'm going to pay a little more attention because they at least are trying to use some objective metric and data. They used their data and ranking system to come out with their preseason all-conference teams. And so I am going to put more validity into some sort of objective data point than what someone thinks, unless if we're talking about the coaches. When I see a preseason coaches all-conference poll or all-conference team, I'm going to put some stock into that because these are the coaches that recruited these players, have coached against these players, scouted these players. They just have a better sense because they're in it. Well, Pro Football Focus has, no surprise, Garrett Nussmeier as the Pro Football Focus has Garrett Nussmeier as the preseason all-conference first-team quarterback because, of course, you're going to have the leading returning passer in college football as the preseason all-conference quarterback. Like, maybe Arch Manning's going to be great. Maybe Lenora Sellers makes a huge leap this year. Same for DJ Lagway. Maybe. But you got a guy that literally is the leading returning passer in college football. Like, on a team that was 104th in the country in rushing offense. Like, could not run the ball. They said, hey, 13, we need you to put on a cape and do everything. And for a bulk of the season, he did. Yeah, he should be preseason all-conference. Now, there's a lot of other things that have dropped today. The Davey O'Brien Award odds have come out. Now, this isn't the preseason Davey O'Brien watch list because half the country is on every watch list. Watch lists are only released to generate conversation around the watch list for their sponsors. The preseason watch list means nothing. You give me odds, now I'm paying attention because now you're telling me the people that operate the sports books are saying, here's this person's odds of winning this award at the end of the season. They have Arch Manning with the best odds, and I understand it. You're trying to say what is going to generate the most amount of action. And you don't want to leverage yourself with Arch because Texas is probably going to be good. They got a talented team. Arch is going to throw it a ton. Maybe he wins it, and at that number, he's probably going to get a lot of action. But after Arch at 4-1 is Nussmeier at 5-1. And then Cade Klubnik at 6-1. Then you got to drop for Drew Aller, Julian Sain, Drew Aller, Julian Sain are 10-1. Dante Moore, DJ Lagway, Lenoris Sellers, all at 12-1. Okay, I'm okay with that. Like, you're talking about guys that will probably put up stats, could very well be on good teams, but their teams may be 7-win teams, and they may put up numbers, but are they going to win the award? Like, you have to look at where they're looking at their liability. And it's very clear. Like, they look at Garrett Nussmeier as a guy that's probably going to go throw for 4,000 yards again. And if his team does what we think they're going to do and win 9-10 games and is in contention for the playoff, is going to be in contention for all these awards. Now, the other thing that I stumbled upon this weekend, and maybe I should have led with this, but the other thing I stumbled upon this weekend that I think I know I haven't talked about yet on air, and I'm not sure anybody has talked about yet. Maybe somebody has, and if you have, hat tip, my apologies if I just haven't seen you talk about it. Garrett Nussmeier right now is the third leading, Garrett Nussmeier right now is 9th all-time in LSU career passing yards. He's 9th. Tommy Hotson leads that list with 9,100 yards in his career. Now, he was a starter for 4 years in the 80s. He threw for 9,115 yards. Nussmeier presently is at 5,772 yards, meaning Garrett Nussmeier is 3,343 yards away from breaking Tommy Hotson's career passing yardage mark. Remember, Nuss threw for 4,052 yards last season. If he simply replicates the year he has, or is even off by 500 yards, 600 yards, he's going to become LSU's all-time leading passer, which is incredible. I mean, Joe Burrow, who had a 5,000-yard season, is second on the list and trails Hodson by about 600 yards. Jeff Wickersham, Jaden Daniels, Jamarcus Russell, Jamie Howard, Herb Tyler, Zach Mettenberger, and then Nussmeier is at 9. So you're talking about going from 9-1, feeling like a long jump, but it's only 3,343 yards that he needs. Basically, if Nuss goes out and has the type of season he did a year ago, he'll finish his LSU career as the all-time leading passer in program history, passing a mark that Tommy Hotson set in 1989. I mean, you're talking a record that stood for 35 years, very likely will fall this year with Garrett Nussmeier. It's time for us to start talking about Nuss in the all-time historical context at LSU. And I understand that conversation most often always starts with Burrow, Flynn, Mock, Rab, the 4 quarterbacks that led national championship teams. And yes, of course, Jaden Daniels is in the mix as a Heisman winner, and Burt Jones is there as an All-American, and Jamarcus is in there as the #1 overall pick and the guy that won the Manning Award. But there are tiers to it. And I understand that for Nuss to be in the top tier, he's going to have to win. It's going to have to be playoff, SEC championship, maybe deep run in the playoff, maybe a national championship. But we got to start having this conversation about this guy that, if healthy this year, and, knock on, I don't know if this is wood for Mike or whatever this is, knock on tablecloth, hopefully stays healthy, has an awesome season, and finishes this year having rewritten the LSU record books, maybe wins a Heisman Trophy, gets the postseason all-conference award, which, of course, he should or would if he has the type of season, and maybe becomes a national champion. A lot on the line in an historical context for Garrett Nussmeier in 2025. LSU Tigers just stays away from hitting the practice field to kick this thing off. All right, it's After Further Review. We're thrilled to have you hanging out with us here on this Monday edition. Hey, look, we're not home, but we'll be back tomorrow, and tomorrow's Supper Club will reopen. Remember, get your reservation at supperclubbtr.com. They're closed Sunday, Monday, open Tuesday through Saturday. People come from all over Louisiana. People come from Texas. People come from everywhere to go to Supper Club because you have experiences at Supper Club that you literally can't have anywhere else. Like I talk about the Japanese omi beef. That's the beef that comes from this farm in Japan where it's 500 years old. They used to feed this beef to the samurai because they thought it had magical powers. Like Brandon Landry had to join a Japanese beef cooperative just to be able to apply for the right to be able to sell this at his restaurant. So, like, you literally can't get that cut of beef anywhere else. Not in Louisiana, in the United States of America. But you can at Supper Club. So you want that type of experience, the only place you're going to get it is at Supper Club. So book your reservation at supperclubbtr.com. That's supperclubbtr.com. Supperclubbtr.com. All right, y'all. 5 o'clock, we're driving home, and glad you're hanging out with us here. We're in Houston here at the Rustic downtown. Great spot. Big shout-out to our friends at the Louisiana Department of Economic Development and the Baton Rouge Area Chamber for hosting us here today at the Rustic. Been such a great day so far already. And doing the show, we've learned like that with bold leadership, with a new vision, Louisiana gaining real momentum. There's $63 billion in new capital investment. Governor Landry has announced nearly 7,000 new jobs. So the time is now to come home. Start your journey at comehomelouisiana.com. That's comehomelouisiana.com. It's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. If you missed Ross Jackson about 45 minutes ago, he gave us a Saints camp report. Kellen Moore met with reporters after camp. We'll let you hear what the Saints head coach had to say when we come back. Also, new numbers about which SEC coach might be fired first. This could well surprise you. And Tigers look like they are going to lose one of their chief administrators. We'll get to that as we roll along here in hour number 3 of AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Say it every day, but if you're thinking of selling your home, why would you hire anyone other than the realtor that literally sells more homes than anyone? That's Darren James. Congrats to my buddy Darren James, who on the recently announced Wall Street Journal Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America. Darren was number 1 in Louisiana on the transaction side, number 17 in America. It's almost unfathomable to think about that kind of volume. But that's what Darren does. He goes to work for his clients, and he says this, and it's not lip service. I've seen it with my own eyes. It doesn't matter if it's a $50,000 house or $50 million house. Darren has a way of making you feel like you are his only client because he understands the lifetime value of your relationship to be far greater than one transaction. You need a realtor. You need the best. You need Darren James.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Saints had their first full padded practice on Monday of training camp, the first training camp under new coach Kellen Moore. If you missed it, by the way, Ross Jackson was here last hour, gave us a report, and I'm telling you, I would highly encourage you. I know you could look at me and you say you're completely biased because you're the publisher at LouisianaSports.net. I am, but I would honestly tell you if I thought someone was doing amazing work, and there are plenty of people that cover the Saints that do awesome work, but I'm telling you, I don't think anybody is putting out the type of coverage for free that Ross Jackson is at LouisianaSports.net. He sends us every day a comprehensive 6 pages of notes from their training camp practices that we edit down and format as a training camp report. It's free. It's completely free. So please go check it out, LouisianaSports.net. Let a friend know if they love the Saints. It's there every single day that the Saints practice. Ross's practice report will be there. It's comprehensive and awesome. And when I was in Mexico last week, it's the only way I kept up with how I knew what was going on. But the Saints on Monday had their first full padded practice. And I always think that's an important benchmark because when the pads go on, you're going to start to see some things that you wouldn't otherwise see, most notably line of scrimmage, because you can never really tell anything with the offense or defensive line until pads come on. So that's always something that I'm going to look for. As this camp evolves, there are a few storylines that I'm watching, and they most notably involve transitions from what we knew or thought we knew over the continuity that's been established from the previous 15 years. I mean, keep in mind, you had Sean Payton in place for basically a decade and a half. And then after Sean Payton leaves after 2001, you bring in Dennis Allen, who retains Pete Carmichael. So you're trying to keep all the continuity, which I understood. Remember, I was okay with that at the time. Like, it made sense. You had success. Dennis Allen had been a head coach. You hope maybe he learned his lesson. You maintain a lot of the continuity, the leadership on the team. There's less turnover. Like, I got it. But very quickly, it was obvious that wasn't going to work, and they needed to pivot. Well, they retained Dennis Allen, but Pete Carmichael's gone. So you bring in a new offensive coordinator. So a year ago, Clint Kubiak was a massive part of all of our conversations in fall camp because you had 15 years of Sean Payton and Pete Carmichael, and then all of a sudden, it was somebody different. And so we were going to see it look different than it had and what we had become accustomed to for a decade and a half. Well, now, not only is it a new offense, but it's a new head coach. It's a new defense with Brandon Staley coming in, shifting to a 3-4. You're having new personnel with a draft class that includes 9 different players drafted, including the highest drafted quarterback since Archie in 1971. I mean, it's all the things we know we've talked about, but it sort of illustrates the things that I'm looking for throughout this camp. So In this first day in pads, Kellen Moore was asked what caught his eye in day one in pads.
I think it's always fun to see the trenches, the first day of pads. I think our defense line just did a phenomenal job, engaging, beating everyone to the punch, really physical battle between both sides of the football. I thought both sides had some goods and some bads, and that's the beauty of this.
Remember, the New Orleans, I'm glad he said the defensive line had the day they did, because it's the first thing I told you I'm looking for. When you put pads on, offensive, defensive line, and this felt like a day where, according to Ross Jackson's report, according to Kellen Moore, the defensive line had a day. The tackles struggled to block Granderson and Chase Young, and in the middle, the run defense performed well also. Remember, when the New Orleans Saints were going through their great streak from 2017 through 2020, when, boy, they were close a couple times, they had that incredible streak of consecutive games without allowing a 100-yard rusher. They literally broke a record that the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, the greatest defense in NFL history, had. Last year, the New Orleans Saints were second worst in the NFL in rush defense. They were second worst in rush defense, and they were bottom half of the NFL in sacks. The defensive line was atrocious a year ago. There's no other way to say it. They were atrocious. So what have they done? They drafted Vernon Broughton. They went and added Devon Gottschall. They re-signed Chase Young, who you hope's healthy and has a great season this year. They added a linebacker in Danny Stutzman. They went and addressed that front seven in a way to say, let's get guys that look more like what we're trying to do in a 3-4 with Brandon Staley. So, for example, Kellen Moore was asked on Monday about Devon Gottschall and what makes Gottschall such a good fit in this defense.
Yeah, certainly we went through just the discussion of what the criteria is by position and kind of detail that out. We felt like we do have some good guys here who are still in place that can play that role really, really well. Certainly, Gottschall's one of the premier players in this league as far as playing one of those interior run-stopping spots. And so, we felt, we played New England. Every time you played New England, it felt like it was a battle to get anything going inside because of him. And so we were fortunate to get him.
Interior run-stopping spots. Interior run-stopping spots. Listen to that line. Interior run-stopping spots. That's what they were going for. You bring in a guy that's 330 pounds as opposed to having Colin Saunders, who's 6 feet tall, and just a little bowling ball in the middle. It's dramatically different where you have someone that big, that physical and athletic that can blow up the launch pad. It's just, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm not saying it's going to be awesome. It's just illustrative of what their plan is, and that continues to reveal itself on days like this. So naturally, you're interested not only in the run defense, but the running game as well, because the running game last year was second to worst in the NFL. So how those guys continue to develop in the running game will be something worth watching. The thing everybody is watching, of course, is the quarterback play, and Kellen Moore gave an update on all three quarterbacks through day 5. Let's start with the rookie Tyler Shuck. This is number 10, Muse.
I think Tyler's done a nice job. He's communicating at a really high level. He's making good decisions. As we go through, we'll just continue to evaluate each and every day. These guys will grow every day, and every opportunity, especially for Tyler, being his first time rookie year training camp. Every day there's new install, new material that maybe is a first time for him, and so he's going through that process. I think he's done an excellent job.
And then also, and I'll come back and talk about Shuck, but then here was Rattler and Haener.
Yeah, those guys done a nice job. Spencer's really decisive, plays confident. He gets the ball out. He's done a nice job, and Jake's done a lot of the same stuff. I think these guys, they've played a little bit more football over the last couple of years, and so their experience, obviously, they can lean on, and they're doing a nice job.
Hat tip to Ross Jackson, who in the reports that I referenced does a rep charting and rep distribution in each of the practices. Tyler Shuck had 22. Spencer Rattler had 20. Jake Haener had 12. Their passing totals, Tyler Shuck, 8 of 11 with 3 passing touchdowns. By the way, so 8 of 11 today. So far in camp, he's 24 of 41 with 3 touchdowns. Rattler today was 8 of 13 for camp. He's 40 of 57. Remember, Shuck is 24 of 41. Rattler's 40 of 57. So he's had more opportunity and he's had more success. 6 touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns on top of it. He has thrown 2 picks. Haener is just 4 of 7. So was 4 of 7 today. For camp so far, he's 29 of 43 with 4 touchdowns and a pick. Again, all this is at LouisianaSports.net. But it's very obvious that they're giving slightly more workload right now to Spencer Rattler. He is the incumbent, followed by Shuck. Big drop-off to Jake Haener. I don't think that's a surprise. Haener is probably going to be your practice squad or your emergency quarterback on this team. It's going to be a Shuck-Rattler battle, but you could see so far. I'm terrible at math, so let me just do this really quickly if I could, to show you just the disparity in the quarterback reps. So Rattler is 40 out of 57. That's 70% completion. Tyler Shuck so far is 24 of 41. That's 58%. So Spencer Rattler right now is completing 70% of his passes so far through 5 days. 70% with 6 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. He has thrown 2 picks, however, which is worth noting. So as we keep an eye on the quarterbacks. And then the other thing for me that I do think is interesting and worth watching, keeping an eye on, is just the difference in the scheme, moving to a 3-4 scheme. But we'll learn more about that probably whenever we get to hear from Brandon Staley. But those are the things, big picture, that I'm keeping an eye on. Watching the line of scrimmage, an improvement in the running game, the quarterback distribution, and then just a changing in scheme from a 4-3 to a 3-4. Day 5, first day of full padded practice in the books for New Orleans. And by the way, this was the start after having a day off on Sunday. This was the start of 5 consecutive days of work. And then here in a couple of weeks, the Saints will head out to L.A. for a week of practice with the Chargers before they play the Chargers in their first preseason game. So as that continues, we'll certainly keep you posted here with our Saints camp reports. All right, it is After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on this Monday edition, brought to you by Evermore. I could sure use a big old 64-ounce bottle of Evermore right now. A better form of hydration. I'll tell you, one of the things I missed when I was in Mexico, being on the island, was being able to drink my Evermore every day. We need to get Evermore out in Mexico. I know they got it places in Houston. Maybe I'll try to go find some after the show. EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. A natural artesian water, a healthier form of hydration, nothing added, nothing taken away. Go look at a bottle of water. Get whatever bottle of water you normally drink. Minerals added for flavor, such and such added for flavor. Like, when you're talking about Evermore, this is out of a natural artesian well on the North Shore Lake Pontchartrain in Covington. They pipe it out of the well into the facility. It runs through a filter only to get the sediment from the ground out. It goes right into the bottle. It doesn't touch air until you crack it and take that first delicious sip. It's Evermore. EVAMOR. By the way, shout out to everybody who sends me tweets and texts and DMs with your Evermore. Like this happened this morning. Somebody tweeted me. I'll give him a shout out. Hang on. I'm going to scroll Twitter and find this picture. There he is. B. Vitrano, Brian Vitrano, at B. Vitrano, at Brian Vitrano. Sent me a tweet this morning. He was watching OTB on his TV, and he was drinking Evermore. Shout out to Brian Vitrano. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for your support. EVAMOR, Evermore.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. When we come back, LSU looks like they're probably losing a pretty key athletic administrator. I want to talk about that. And then we're also going to discuss new odds of the first SEC coach to be fired. And the name on the list is probably not the one that you're thinking. Probably, maybe, but probably not the one that you're thinking. I know the one I'm thinking. And it wasn't the name that's the first one on the list. Or the second. The one I'm thinking was third on the list, which is really interesting. So we'll tell you about that when we come back. Stay here. It is a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. By the way, of course, you know Gordon is a partner in Court to Table. New concept, pickleball concept on Burbank in Baton Rouge. Awesome spot. And by the way, AFR will be at Court to Table on Thursday. The Hall of Fame game is Thursday, the first NFL preseason game. So I'm excited to bring AFR to Court to Table on Thursday. So make plans. If you're in Baton Rouge Thursday, come join us for AFR or just come for the Hall of Fame game. You got it. It's going to be, Court to Table is going to be your new favorite place to watch football in Baton Rouge. I promise you. Like, when you walk in and you see I think they call it the Pickle Bar. when you see that space, you're going to go, oh, yeah, this is where I'm setting up shop on football Saturdays, football Sundays. So even if you don't love pickleball, Courts Table is going to be great. Of course, we love telling you about Gordon McKernan, injury attorney. So go to getgordon.com, get Gordon, and get it done.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
We're Rev Business, a local provider with nearly 90 years of experience. So when it comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs, reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a...
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Coming down the home stretch here, a couple segments to go from the rustic downtown Houston as we move into dusk. Maybe the sun hides behind the clouds a little bit. Little breeze, nice evening. Got a ball game tonight, Astros and Nationals. We're here with our friends from the LSU Alumni Association, also the Louisiana Department of Economic Development, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, all putting on this great event surrounding their campaign, Come Home Louisiana. So if you are an expat, you're maybe you went to LSU, you live in Louisiana, you've moved out of state for whatever reason, know that economic development in the state is on the rise, and our friends over at the Louisiana Department of Economic Development are encouraging you to look for opportunities to come home. Visit comehomelouisiana.com, comehomelouisiana.com to learn more. But we appreciate our friends here in Houston and here at the Rustic in downtown Houston for hosting us. Awesome venue. We're fired up to go watch a game tonight. We thought we were going to get to see a couple of former Tigers, Dylan Cruz and Cole Henry, play against the Astros tonight. But Cruz is injured. Henry could very well pitch tonight. Hopefully he does and gets an opportunity. What a thrill that would be to get to see that former Tiger throw tonight here in Houston. All right, it is after further review. A story we're going to follow, and we had this up at louisianasports.net. It's actually still there on the homepage if you want to read about it. But Kelly Zinn is being targeted for the AD job at Rutgers. If you're not familiar, And by the way, the first report was from NJ.com. Steve Politi and Brian Fonseca. Hey, Politi, Fonseca. Get all his vowels. Trust those Italianos in Jersey. Anyway, they had a report that Kelly Zinn is expected to become the next athletic director at Rutgers. As a matter of fact, Steve Politi, his tweet read, "I'll have a column on this in the morning, but a long, messy search ends with the highly regarded Kelly Zinn taking the reins as new Rutgers athletic director. She has much, much work to do." Kelly Zinn is this is a big loss for LSU. And it is in part I'm using air quotes here, the risk in hiring really talented, ambitious young people. They're going to do a great job for you, and then ultimately be hired away for a bigger, better opportunity. This is the equivalent of the hot young offensive coordinator being hired for their first head coaching job. That's what's happening here. Now, keep in mind the other tie that binds is William Tate. So William Tate, the former LSU president, who was fired without being fired. Basically, one of those situations where you're told, "Hey, you might want to go find a job." One of those situations. That led William Tate to be hired at Rutgers for the same position, and now he's targeted Kelly Zinn. The information sort of is that they had targeted Kelly Zinn early in this process. She was more interested in the Georgia Tech job. So she was a finalist for that Georgia Tech job, but ultimately Georgia Tech ended up hiring Ryan Alpert from Tennessee. So then Rutgers circled back to Kelly Zinn and apparently is hiring her to be their new athletic director. It is worth noting neither Rutgers nor LSU has confirmed this. I did reach out for LouisianaSports.net to an LSU spokesperson asking for comment. That request was not returned. So I'm assuming they're just waiting for all the I's to be dotted, T's to be crossed, and we'll see where this goes. But among Kelly Zinn's primary charges was revenue generation, right? And especially in this new world of revenue sharing when, as we've talked about, most athletic departments operate at a deficit. And now you're adding $20.5 million of expenses to the balance sheet. Like, two things have to happen. You need to increase revenue and decrease expenses. So we have detailed, not just at LSU, but at a lot of different places, how athletic departments are decreasing expenses. Kelly was really, the charge was finding ways to increase revenue as well. Now, she was also a senior athletics administrator who was the direct oversight for football and gymnastics. So this was revenue generation, capital projects, strategic initiatives. Like, she was a key cog at LSU as the executive deputy AD and chief operating officer, the COO, within the athletic department. So Kelly Zinn she's a West Virginia alum. She spent time at Maryland, then as a high-ranking athletics administrator at her alma mater, West Virginia, before LSU hired her in July of 2022. She's been at LSU since July of 2022, so 3 years, and now it appears as though she will become an athletic director for the first time in her career at Rutgers. Wish Kelly Zinn all the luck in the world, all the best in the world. She's outstanding. There's a lot of challenges with taking that job at Rutgers. They're not a very prominent football brand. Actually, they're not a very prominent brand in anything athletically. So you talk about a real 180 from what she has been experiencing at LSU to now what she will experience at Rutgers. But that's obviously going to be a challenge that she's willing to take on. The question now for Scott Woodward and LSU is replacing Kelly Zinn with someone of equal or greater ability to take over these revenue generation ideas and strategies in a key era of not only LSU athletics but all of college athletics. So we wish Kelly Zinn all the best. We will wait for this to be formally announced by Rutgers and or LSU, but it certainly appears as though everyone's reporting it that this is done. It's likely a dot the I's, cross the T's deal, and then Kelly will be the new athletic director there at Rutgers. All right, it's after further review. I do want to get into this, because I've teased it, so I'm not going to prolong this, but I I want to talk to you about this, the odds of the first SEC coach to be fired in a second, because the guy at the top of the list surprised me. I think it'll surprise you. We are brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com, with 9 locations in all, a couple in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport, even outside of Louisiana. You can learn more at lmfj.com, lmfj.com. If you're thinking of popping the question, maybe you're celebrating an anniversary and you're looking at the ring that you bought or that diamond you bought 10, 20, 50 years ago and thinking, man, it might be a great year for an upgrade. You could trade in that old diamond, upgrade for a newer, bigger diamond, whatever the case may be. Lee Michaels can make it happen. They want her to be thrilled and you to be the hero. So shop at lmfj.com or walk into any of the Lee Michaels locations. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. So sportsbetting.ag has put out a list of the odds of the first coach to be fired, the first college football coach. Now, this isn't to say the first college football coach in the SEC or the order in which they'll be fired. It's the odds of them being the first coach fired. Does that make sense? Am I saying this to where you understand it? It's not to say like this is the odds of them being fired at some point. Like, for example, Brian Kelly is at 60-1, but that's not the odds that he's fired. It's the odds of him being fired first. So the first name on the list is Brent Brennan from Arizona at 4-1. But the second name on the list, overall, is Brent Venables at Oklahoma. And you may shrug your shoulders and say, yeah, Matt, that sounds obvious. What about Sam Pittman? Sam Pittman has a sub-500 record at Arkansas. They thought he was going to be fired after last year, or step aside. When you look at the schedule Arkansas has, by the way, have you looked at the schedule Arkansas has? I don't know who Sam Pittman pissed off, like why they hate him so much. But when you look at a program like Indiana, which is buying out games against Virginia to schedule FCS schools, and meanwhile Sam Pittman has to play on the road at Memphis in a home game against Notre Dame in addition to his conference schedule, like they are trying to get that dude fired. Pittman is at 7-1. Hugh Freeze is at 8-1. Billy Napier is at 12-1. I thought Billy Napier would have been first on the list. I mean, Billy Napier going into last season was just assumed he was going to get fired. Now they won a couple of games, LSU and Ole Miss in November, which seemingly did save his job. But Venables at 6-1 to be the first coach fired is a staggering revelation of what the powers that be at Oklahoma think about Venables, the job he's doing, and his ability to get it right. Because remember, in Norman this year, this is one of the big takeaways from Media Days. They are really high on John Mateer. They're the quarterback that they brought in from Washington State. And Ben Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator they brought in from Washington State. My point was, listen, if you're telling me you're trying to rebuild your offense with a quarterback from Washington State, a running back from Cal, and a couple of FCS receivers, I'm not buying that's the thing that's going to get it done in the SEC. Maybe they're better than they were a year ago, but that wouldn't take much. They were 6-6. 6-7. So maybe it's not so much that Venables is high on the list. It's that he's higher than Pittman and Freeze and Napier. Anyway, you can tell which at this point in the season for every school, optimism always abounds. And that optimism for a handful is always misplaced because there just aren't enough wins to go around for everyone. So which are the ones who have misplaced optimism? This would suggest it's Oklahoma, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida. Not a great surprise there. All right, it's after further review, y'all. One segment to go. We'll knock out our final break, and we'll wrap up from the Rustic in Houston. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. We'll wrap it up next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance, two amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance, Southtown. Y'all, football season, you know it's right around the bend. Remember, the Friday before every home game, the LSU Tigers stay at Renaissance Baton Rouge, right there on Bluebonnet. Gorgeous, sprawling hotel with 5,000 square feet of meeting space. I'm telling you, if there's an event you want to host, you want to be at Renaissance Baton Rouge, because if it's good enough for the LSU football program the night before a home game, it's good enough for whatever event that you want to host. We've hosted events there. Our Louisiana Sports Night launch party was there at Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel. But remember, if you got family members or friends or colleagues or clients coming in for football games this football season, book those rooms now. Watermark downtown, a short drive into campus, Renaissance Southtown right there on Blue Bonnet. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance. Check them out, Watermark and Renaissance Baton Rouge.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish contractors, let's get building.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on this Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. And again, a big, gigantic shout out and thank you to our friends at the Louisiana Department of Economic Development. Bo, can you get the speaker, please? Big shout out to our friends at the Louisiana Department of Economic Development for their partnership on this event. The Baton Rouge Area Chamber, the LSU Alumni Association, so many of the Tiger fans, the Houstonites who came out today to hang out, to say hello. Really an awesome day, and we're glad to be here. Go catch a ball game tonight, which should be a lot of fun. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, or text in the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. Big day tomorrow as the LSU Tigers are set to report for camp. So it's check-in day. And then we'll have the full We'll have the full camp schedule for LSU, so we'll know what practice looks like and what availability we'll have. I know I've said it often, but Brian Kelly has been a bit of an oddity in the access that he grants, and it's a good thing, by the way, oddity in a good way. In the NFL, there are mandates in the collective bargaining agreement whereby every team has to grant certain access to media. That does not exist in college football. Every school can do it however they want, and it's it is a rare occurrence, especially in major college football, for media to get the type of access that we do. And I know some people may say, well, why would you care what type of access media gets? It's all about our ability to report on the teams you care about and to tell you the stories that you should care about. It's not to say that you should care about our job one way or another. It's more about us being able to report information to you about the teams that you want. And Brian Kelly gives us great access, which helps do that much, much easier. We'll start to run through some of the camp storylines that we're going to be watching as LSU reports to camp and then ultimately opens up camp. But hopefully we have plenty of access like we have in years past. No reason to think that won't be the case. But this LSU team is embarking on a season that is carrying enormous expectation. Not that I'm speaking out of turn or telling you anything you don't already know, but we've talked plenty since the December portal period through spring ball, SEC media days, all the preseason odds, projections, watch lists, all conference teams. We talked plenty. And it's getting down to the point where it's actually really fun because you can stop just talking about the theoretical and talk about what you actually see, and that's going to happen this week. Certainly with the New Orleans Saints already in training camp and LSU hitting the field for camp later this week. And, of course, Garrett Nussmeier will be leading the way for LSU, and we'll get a better sense of all these freshmen coming in, the number one transfer portal class in the country. And the Tigers looking for potentially their first national championship and SEC championship since 2019. We'll be covering it all the way through. Bo Wegman, thanks so much for your help today. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you in studio tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about our friends at Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. You can always learn more at ololrmc.com/LSU. That's Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center, ololrmc.com/LSU. When the LSU football Tigers hit the practice field later this week, the doctors, the trainers, the medical personnel and professionals that are going to be caring for the LSU football teams, those are the same doctors and trainers and medical professionals that care for the students at LSU and for you and me and the members of the greater Baton Rouge community and beyond, of course, because Our Lady of the Lake is part of the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady Health System, which is a multi-state health system with hospitals and clinics providing every level of care for anything you can imagine. Learn more about Our Lady of the Lake and their championship health partner with LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now. and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.